800-462-3333. That's 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
Hi there. This is Steve Ard with Local Waste Service. The Ards have been in the waste business for over 60 years, and I want to introduce my new waste company, Local Waste Service. We are a locally owned company that provides front-end, roll-off, and porta-potty service for all your waste needs. We also do recycling and compactors. So look us up at localwastesc.com. That's localwastesc.com.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular price.
There's a whole lot of savings going on now at Staples. During Staples Sit-a-thon, you can save up to $150 on select office and desk chairs. And when you buy a chair, you save 25% on desks, storage solutions, and office accessories. Plus, your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. And when you return an Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next $30 Staples purchase. Now is definitely the time to save at Staples. Chair offer ends 10/28. In-store only. Exclusions apply on Amazon offer.
For whatever you may want in most any kind of sport, Todd and More is where it begins.
Todd & More has been your hometown sports store since 1944. The Midlands has depended on Todd & More for all kinds of sporting goods, equipment, apparel, and accessories for 79 years. Open 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday at 620 Hugie Street.
Equipment for your sport, from the diamond to the court, Todd & More is
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is Gamecock quarterback Spencer Rattler, and you're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
The Early Game
With Bill Gunter.
I love me some me.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
I don't yuck anybody's yums.
And Jen Jensen.
Let's play a little game real quick.
Boy.
Jen, somebody calls you and says, Bill's coming on with us. Bill Gunter's coming on with us later. How should we refer to him?
Schmo.
There you go.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Fine. I'm the one that can't do it. Kids, don't be like me. Be more like Jen.
Be tough.
Be tough. That's right. Unlike me, be tough.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Up and at 'em, fellow kids. It's a Tuesday morning. Chilly Tuesday morning at that. I've actually got the full sweater going. I am getting into full winter mode, basically, because it'll be better later today, Preston. You know, it'll warm up. They warm up. But when you get up at 5 o'clock, 4:45, when you walk out the door at about 5:25, it's a little chilly out there. So if you're getting up or if you're getting off of the third shift, bundle up a little bit.
Yeah. Bill, it is October 24th. We are rapidly moving towards winter.
We're rapidly moving toward Thanksgiving. That's actually when I made that comment to you this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I was thinking about, because what is Thanksgiving? Is Thanksgiving the 24th or 25th next month? Do we know that off the top of our head as I glance very quick? 23rd would be Thanksgiving. 23rd. So, yeah, we are now 30 days away from Thanksgiving. How soon do you start planning your Thanksgiving? Or do y'all have a set destination that it occurs at every year? Does it occur at mom's house every year? Does it occur at an aunt's house every year?
We've recently had a change to our destination, but it is set, and this will be the third year that we'll be attending the destination.
Okay,
so we are set.
That's set, and then is everybody pretty much in line for what they're bringing?
Yeah. It's pretty narrowed down to what it's going to be. So. Excited about that.
Okay. So that's a month. That's 30 days away. 7 days away is Halloween. You got that going. So hopefully you've got your costumes picked out, or you got the kids' costumes picked out. You've got
the one you've got on today, Bill. It looks great.
Thank you. It's a sweater and a hat.
talking about the mask.
Yeah. Okay. Good to see you too, Jen, on a Tuesday morning. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in. Got a lot to do this morning. Preston's with us for about an hour. He's got to get to his grades to give out from the weekend. You want to give a preview of how that's going to go because I saw it?
Let's just say I did not have to go to the grocery store to pick up mini candy bars.
No.
This week.
There will be a lot that you can give out for Halloween, correct?
I've stocked up, hoping to give them out to Gamecock players, but I guess the trick-or-treaters are going to get some of these candy bars.
Okay, so I have a question. If you're not giving out candy bars, what is the thing that they don't want to get? Like, okay, I'm giving out toothbrushes, or what's the thing that they would like the least?
You, sir, you get dental floss.
There you go. See, I'm thinking, no offense to the dentist,
there
but
there you go.
I think everybody would say you get those orange or black. You know what I'm talking about? The candies that were
we
made.
talked about those last year, like a peanut butter something in the black and
I think they were made during World War II, and there's just a huge stock of them, and they go out. I mean, like if you think candy corn's bad, which we're all different on that. Wait for next Tuesday's show when we really get into candy corn.
Absolutely.
But yeah, those things are really awful.
Yeah.
But
So, whatever is the anti candy bar. I picked up ring pops this year. Thoughts?
Yeah,
for a certain
for age in the demo.
For a certain age, yeah.
That's a good deal.
I don't know. I just saw those and thought that could be interesting.
I think I remember the novelty being maybe a little bit better than the candy technology. Like it was just cool to wear it, but maybe the candy wasn't great.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's improved in recent times.
Probably the same ones you had as a kid. We go back to that whole thing, but I don't know. I thought, well, we'll see, and if not, if the house gets egged, I'll know that didn't work.
Also a solid strategy for you because I don't foresee you like binging on ring pops.
Yeah,
correct.
If you have a lot left over, so it's just like whatever. I'll just give
it gets donated to like the church or something.
It can just go away. Whereas maybe if you have something that's tasty,
look at that. I didn't even think about that.
I think that I like that strategy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if y'all with Halloween and again a week from today. I miss the one thing I hate about Halloween now is I actually enjoy giving out the candy, like kids and seeing all the little costumes and everything. In the neighborhood that I'm in, where I'm at, I think we have a bunch of older, crotchety people who don't even like Halloween. Now, I don't live in a neighborhood with a whole bunch of kids where the place I live, but I miss giving out the kids. Now, Jen, the thing I was just thinking about is you live in a huge neighborhood.
Thing is, though, we live at the bottom of a hill. Kids are really lazy.
That was where I was going with that. There is a massive hill that you can roll down to get to Jen's house, but then you've got to circle because she's in kind of a cul-de-sac, and then you have to go back up the hill.
Yeah,
and I can see where that is.
It's
unenjoyable for both parents who are lugging the wagon with the kids probably in it.
Yep. Yeah, we get a few. We don't get near. I mean, on the main streets. Oh, it's packed. Like you're home for the night. You're not going anywhere because you do not even want to think about driving. There are a ton of kids there, but yeah, on our street, I think last year we only gave away like, I don't know, less than 10 things.
So all the kids make business decisions, and they're like,
yeah, it's not worth the rate on return. Yeah, not so much.
Yeah. So it's just 7 days left in the month of October. Get all your
and fall back is coming soon. My
true.
favorite. That's like a holiday in and of itself.
2 weeks from that. Yeah, I just say it because man, I really went into this month, and I think I said something on the program about getting into Halloween and being able to watch Halloween movies and do all that. I don't know if they've already played The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
I don't think yet.
Okay. I need to do a little bit more research on that because
I don't know if that really comes before Thanksgiving or that's more, before Halloween, or is that kind of, you see that more before Thanksgiving?
They do have that is the one that has the Thanksgiving meal involved in it.
I think, yeah.
With the odd little multicolored, if you've ever watched that, they've got the little multicolored snacks that you don't know what they are. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. We'll have to do some research. Very important.
Well, 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in. I mean, we can talk more about this, or we can talk about the Missouri game a little bit. It's up to y'all. It's up to however you want to feel.
Charlie Brown.
With Charlie Brown, yeah, which is Lucy, very similar right now with the way things are going. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. We'll get into some grades from Preston Thorne. they're not good. And I think I don't want to say it's interesting, but it correlates. For as bad as you thought the game was, like I said, I got a sneak peek out of them yesterday, Preston. As bad as you thought the game was, the grades bear that out in mind from Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, they do. I mean, we're in the effort to make a segment, we're going to add some commentary to the grades, but they are about what you thought they would be.
Yeah, we'll get a little bit more into that coming up this morning. Preston's got to head out. We will catch up with J.C. Sherbert from 7 to 8 o'clock as we always do. Try to get a little bit more recruiting discussion this morning, looking ahead to the final few months. Going back to what I just said, it is hard to believe the early signing period is now less than 2 months away. So again, maybe that's how you kind of look at it and say, okay, yeah, this isn't going well, but if we can hold on to Dylan Stewart, if we can hold on to some of these players, the two linebackers now have moved up in the rankings, Wendell Gregory and Fred Johnson. You say, man, maybe there's some help on the way to continue to build depth and athleticism. We'll get more into that with a little bit with J.C. Sherbert this morning. And then coming up at 8:15 this morning, 8:15 to about 8:45, former Gamecock Perry Orth will join us. And one thing I want to ask him is, as a quarterback, when you start missing playmakers, how does it affect you mentally as a quarterback? I think Spencer Rattler has mentally been very strong, and I think he has really, over the last 2 years, exhibited all of these signs of being a leader and being a first-class teammate that maybe nobody thought he was when at Oklahoma because of that documentary. But you got to think, Preston, for him mentally, he's a little worn out when you keep seeing guys like Juice Wells, who he built such a connection with last year, out for the season. And now, who knows? We'll find out more today when Shane Beamer talks what the status of Xavier Legette is.
I mean, it's just like I would imagine Perry Orth is going to say it's like a security blanket. You just look out there and you feel safe regardless of what's going to happen. If everything else breaks down, I know I could throw it to XL or I could throw it to Juice and something can happen. And when you don't look out there, it's not as if you don't have confidence in those guys, but you know there's a difference between what you have and what you don't have.
I'll just point out as well, it's Transfer Portal Tuesday, and if we can get into that before Preston leaves. You look at, I don't know, who real quick, well, I mean, if you want to back it all the way up, last year, and I know Marcus Satterfield was running that offense, but we saw what they could do at the end of the season. Your four big playmakers outside of Spencer Rattler are no longer, or no, maybe Xavier Legette. I shouldn't say that, but Xavier Legette was basically the fourth option last year. Your three big playmakers are gone, right? Like Juice Wells hasn't played, Marshawn Lloyd and Jaheim Bell have transferred. Am I right? Am I missing a playmaker from last year that you really counted on?
No, you're right. You're right. No, you said XL was maybe fourth. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, when you're talking about a transition and building of a program.
Oh, Jalen Brooks.
Jalen Brooks is another one.
Well, I mean, early in the season, he had some issues later, but yeah, he was in.
That was a good point too.
Earlier.
Just throwing that out there for. I mean, that's depth and that's recruiting, and that's the new era of the transfer portal. 803-404-6100. Let's do it as we always do in the first segment. Get out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry wants to weigh in. Gamecock Larry, how you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling good. No need to rant and rave. Fire this one, fire that one. It is what it is. I don't know who feels the worst, Gamecock Larry or the Tiger fans. $10 million coach, $2 million offensive coordinator, one of the best running backs in the NCAA, 5-star quarterback, going for 1 yard, and they wound up losing 8. But this is what it is. Well, let me tell you about my Gamecock Larry drag racing team. This weekend, they was down at Darlington, South Carolina, home of Kerry Thorpe. But they went down there, and they had 50 teams they had a team from 50 states and Canada. And the Gamecock team of Gamecock Lucas, Wesley, Gamecock Case, and Proud Daddy, Gary Clark, came in third place. Congratulations. I'm still a Gamecock, but I got me a racing team that I chose to I chose to adopt them. Let's go put it that way. But I'm proud of them. And go racing team. I'm proud of my Gamecocks. We going to Texas A&M. We going into battle. We're not going in expecting to lose. We're going to come back with a win. We're going to come back home. We're going to have 4 home games. We're going to win all 4. And we're going to go 7-5. And I don't want to hear one word from you guys. All you fans is blasting White, blasting this one, blasting that one. You wasn't saying too much about him last year. He ain't lost the ability to coach. This year, you got to have talent. And we got talent in. We got talent coming, and we're going to have talent going out when we will be in the top echelon in 2024. It is what it is. Go Gamecocks. Love all y'all. Talk to you later.
There you go. There you go.
It
Was
is
he
what it
reading
is.
straight off of a script to start?
No, I don't think so. But he did give an impassioned extended version of At Least We Ain't.
Yeah.
He broke down Clemson very, very strongly in
Extended
an extended passionate version of At Least We Ain't. I love that. That was good. Appreciate that.
I love the talk about the racing, and then to see Troy on the live stream is STP, his sponsor. It's like excellent. Nicely done.
Dan just weighs in and says, the Great Pumpkin is just the pumpkin patch, and Trick or Treating and Snoopy is the flying ace. I think I forgot about Snoopy in that one.
That's the expertise we need. Thank you, Dan.
There we go. We
Appreciate
got
that.
803-404-6100. Another anonymous texter weighs in, says, not Gamecock related, but like to give a shout out to Lexington's 12U tackle football team. Made it to the championship game. They beat River Bluff. Good job, 12U tackle football team. So we got a lot going on this morning. We'll get to some more of these texts here on the Firehouse sub text line. Gary, I see you. We'll get out to you as well. Talk a little football. We got grades and snap counts to get to. So much to do. It's only a Tuesday morning. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Preston Thorne, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
The Shane Beamer Weekly Presser, sponsored by Pete Alewine Pools and Spas. Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Finally did it last night. Happened for the first time. Cut the heat on. That's right. I went ahead and cut the heat on in the house. And I kept it low. It was instead of having the air around 70, I cut the heat at like 68. That way, if it dropped down. So I kept it low. But the heating unit was tested out last night. Went ahead and got to it. You know what? AAA Heating and Air knows that the time is coming where you're going to be cutting your heat on as well. And to make sure it's working properly, they are offering complimentary checkups for senior citizens, 62 years in age and older. There will be a lot cooler mornings coming up. There'll be some downright chilly mornings. And if you're 62 years of age or older, you can get a complimentary checkup from AAA Heating and Air. Just give them a phone call, 803-677-1500. Again, that's 803-677-1500. Tell them you heard it right here on 107.5 The Game with Bill Gunner. Again, 803-677-1500. That's AAA Heating and Air.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified. Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Plus, text entitled with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant, Dodge Land on Greystone, is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. $12,000 off new Rams at Dodge Land on Greystone. JT'sDodge.com.
Hi, Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelry with important news if you're in the market for diamond jewelry. For years, we've been building relationships with some of the largest diamond dealers and diamond cutters in the world so we could offer the best possible value to our customers. And as lab-grown diamonds have become more and more popular, we've also created fantastic relationships with growers and cutters in that category too. But now we've taken an even bigger step by accepting our very own growing machine in the 2 million square foot Surreal Super Lab in Surat, India. By growing our own diamonds, we can now eliminate middleman markups while offering the highest clarity and color in sizes up to 17 carats. We can even grow your diamond to order. So now, whether you're in the market for earth-mined or lab-grown diamonds, you just got to come see us.
Only at Traditions Fine Jewelers, South Carolina's first lab-grown diamond grower, in Lexington and at Sand Hills, where the Midlands get engaged.
The Gamecock men's basketball season is almost here. Secure your season tickets today for year 2 of the Lamont Paris era and catch all the games at Colonial Life Arena this season. Home opponents for the 2023-2024 season include Notre Dame, Kentucky, Tennessee, and more. Season tickets start at less than $6 per game. To learn more and secure your season tickets, visit thegamecockclub.com today.
Okay, so you're a guy. You don't feel as young as you used to. You're kind of dragging. No life drive, no sex drive. You have brain fog. You're not sleeping well. All sorts of stuff is going sideways. But you don't want to talk to anybody because we're guys. There is someone you can talk to. Dr. Dan Botnight at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina. Because honestly, what you could be going through could simply be low testosterone. One way to find out. A free consultation at the Men's Clinic of South Carolina, 803-875-MENS, or online, themensclinicsc.com.
Pete Elwine Pool and Spa is your hometown hot tub dealer where sales and service go hand in hand. If you've been thinking about buying a hot tub, come check out our full line of hot tubs and explore the benefits of hydrotherapy, which includes stress relief and increased blood flow and promotes overall health and well-being. Models start as low as $5,000. Pete Elwine Pool and Spa, 5541 Sunset Boulevard. You'll find us on Facebook or online at PeteElwinePools.com.
It's 4 a.m. and you're sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. If you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
1075 The Game Traffic, sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 1075 The Game.
Things looking pretty good for your Tuesday morning commute. Not seeing any slowdowns at this time. Earlier accidents have been cleared, so that's good news. Sunshine today, 74 for the high, and then that overnight low, another cool morning, 47 overnight. Tomorrow, a high of 78 with sunny skies, and then we hit the low 80s. It'll be 80 on Thursday, 81 on Friday, 83 on Saturday, even up to 84 on Sunday. So all good days with sunny skies, no sign of rain in the forecast. Right now, though, it is a cool start. It's 43.
The early game
With Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 1075 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Come on. 6:21 on a Tuesday morning. Preston Thorne, Bill Gunter, Jen Jensen, as we get you up and get you going. Hope you're warm this morning. Hope you're doing well. Getting you through the last full week of October. Let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gary wants to weigh in this morning. Gary, how you doing? What's on your mind?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, that was tough to watch on Saturday. But I do believe you can believe in the coach talking about the defense, but not so much the scheme. I'm not X's and O's guy, but that's just how I feel. But better days are here for sure. We got a couple more. We got a few more winnable games left, so we just have to take it with a grain of salt. On the bright side, I forgot what game it was, but when Carolina, I think, had like 10 players on the field. Well, Minnesota had 8 last night, and somebody caught it. They had 8 on the field last night. But quick basketball point. I know it's not basketball season yet; it's coming, but we have a chance. I believe, looking at the schedule, we have a chance to have a good season before we get into conference play. Maybe 8 games. Year 2, Lamar Paris. I don't know, but let you guys have it. Have a good day, guys.
Appreciate it, Gary. That was one of the I think that might have been the genesis of At Least We Ain't, because what we would do on Friday nights is we was coaching varsity football. Something stupid would happen on the field, and then you would see the same stupid thing happen on Saturday, and then the same dumb thing would happen on Sunday, and you'd be like, all right, man, well, it's not us. It's just sometimes coaching football is hard sometimes. So Notre Dame, sometimes you just have 10 men on the field on the goal line, or I guess in the case of the Vikings last night, sometimes you have 8 men on the field. It's tough. Sometimes it happens.
That must have transpired before I got home to watch it, because I really from about mid-second quarter to about 3 minutes to go. I think the Vikings had an interception, and I tuned it all. I turned it off. But I'm guessing that occurred very early in the game.
I don't know. I didn't see it, but I hope for all purposes it did happen, because then you could just point to them and say, look, those dudes are in the NFL and they can't count either.
Okay. All right. No, I missed that. I mean, again, I didn't get home until about 9:15-ish or so. So by the time I got home, it was the Vikings, I think, had just given up a touchdown to make it 10-7. Maybe that's when it happened, and I stayed awake and watched it. And the Vikings win last night. They moved to 3-4 on the season. 49ers fall to 5-2 last night. Debo out, did not play for the 49ers. We'll have more tomorrow from you on the weekend review on the NFL players, but you've got some grades. And I tell you what, let's do this, because we probably need to make an extended segment, because we can do grades and snap count, and you're smiling. And for all of you who think the grade, well, you're like, man, it was a bad performance, can't be good grades. Boy, are you right. So I tell you what, let's hit a break.
Okay.
And let's get back into that. We'll take a break. We'll come back. When we come back, Preston Thorne takes us back into the classroom. He's giving out grades. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, Preston Thorne. It's the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
At Staples, you can count on every print project being perfect. Right now, get $100 off your print purchase of $250 or more. Offer ends 11/4. See staples.com/print for details. Make your small business print and marketing materials stand out with perfect prints guaranteed at Staples.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. If you or a loved one are over 65 and haven't completed a long-term care planning consultation, now is the time. Did you know that if you aren't able to afford the high cost of skilled care, your assets can be rapidly depleted to only $2,000 unless you plan 5 years in advance? Visit lawyerlisa.com to see how we can help.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Hey, South Carolina, Scott here from Traditions Fine Jewelers. By now, you've probably heard our ads announcing the fact that we now have our own lab diamond growing machine. What does that mean for you? Well, first, it means we can control the visual quality of the diamonds we sell, so that every diamond meets our exact color and clarity standards. Second, we can now sell made-to-order diamonds like a 2.14 carat if you want to propose on Valentine's Day. And third, being a grower means that we're at the very top of the supply chain with absolutely no middleman markups. So we can offer 1 carat total weight studs for just $7.99 or 2 carat total weight studs for just $16.99. And if it's her very first pair, how about 1/4 carat total weights for just $149? Being a grower means the highest quality at the lowest price.
Only at Traditions Fine Jewelers, South Carolina's first lab-grown diamond grower, in Lexington and at Sandhills, where the Midlands get engaged.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where saving is always the name of the game. The lowest price, guaranteed, or they'll pay you $1,000. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
Hey, it's Trey Knox and Boogie Huntley.
This fall, if you're not in Williams-Brice cheering on the Gamecocks, you need to be out at Charwood Golf Club, my favorite course to play here in Columbia.
If you think the field at Williams-Brice Stadium is nice, you'll love what Rock and Daniel Lucas have done over at Charwood Golf Club, the Midland's best-kept secret.
Book your tee time today at 803-755-2000 or online at charwood.com.
Take it from us. Golf is better when you're playing at the Wood.
Don't miss Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's thrilling fall sale. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 1075 The Game to get 3 rooms cleaned for $129. Or schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Glenn Matthews.
And I'm Melanie Matthews.
And we are the 3rd-generation owners of Modern Exterminating Company.
In a time when corporate consolidation, high-pressure door knockers, and inexperienced startups are becoming the norm, isn't it nice to have an experienced, local, family-owned company that you can count on since 1955?
Modern Exterminating has been the local, independent industry leader in the pest control business for the last 67 years. Experience the local, family-owned difference for yourself at 803-765-2315 or pestfreesc.com.
Plus, text entitled with approved credit line 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant Dodge Land on Greystone is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. $12,000 off new Rams at Dodge Land on Greystone. JT'sDodge.com.
At Kroger, we know the minute a tomato is picked, the fresh timer starts. The sooner we get our produce to you, the fresher it is. That's why we've shortened the time from harvest to home for our tasty tomatoes, strawberries, and salads. So no matter how you shop, you have more time with your fresh produce. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Be sure to check out our 99-cent produce sale happening now. You'll save on apples, pears, onions, and more with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
The early game
with Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Well, we do have a couple slowdowns to let you know about. Broad River Road at Woodrow Street and also Augusta Highway at Laurel Road. We do have an accident there. Forecast for today, 74 for the high, 78 tomorrow. And then we get into the low 80s really through about Monday. So a little nice right now. And showing some October. We'll get more into like the 70s and even the 60s sometime later next week. So we'll enjoy this while we can. Right now, though, it is a cool start to your morning, 45 on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
(803-404-6100). How you can weigh in this morning, 6:31 on your Tuesday morning. Reminder, later today, coming up about this time, about 7 hours from now, you'll be able to hear Shane Beamer on his weekly press conference right here, 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Shane Beamer will address the injury situation. I don't know, Preston, if injuries become an excuse or if they're a reality, maybe somewhere in between, I guess, because they are happening. But it is a matter of continuing to build depth within a program through recruiting or through the transfer portal. We'll hear Shane Beamer address all of that today. Anonymous Texter weighs in here. It says, if they lose to Vanderbilt, do you start to play for the future and start splitting quarterback snaps? I wouldn't worry about Vanderbilt. I'd worry about Jacksonville State.
I told you I didn't like it, Bill.
I would worry more that Texter. You're skipping one there. We'll see. I don't know. It's a little bit too far in the future right now for that. I think they got to get past. They got to There's a lot they got to figure out before you start worrying about quarterbacks splitting snaps. That's really, to be honest, is about the least of their concerns right now. You've got to figure out something with the offensive line. You got to figure out, I think, how to get the linebackers playing at a higher rate, maybe playing faster, bringing Pup Howard along. You got to figure out how to get some of these grades up. Preston Thorne.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. Let's give me an overall, before you even start giving grades, just when you actually looked at these are the Pro Football Focus grades. When you actually looked at these and wrote them down, what was the initial sound you made?
Oof. That was my sound. Repeatedly through each position group as I went through the thing. Ugh. The grades were lower than I actually thought they were going to be, especially on the defensive side. I mean, the defense side had a few people grade out. Offensively, this is the bottom line. Nobody graded out. When I say graded out, nobody graded out above a 70 on their Pro Football ranking. You start essentially around a 50, and you get pluses or minus going from that. That's how the grading scale works. So you sort of start around a 50, and you get plus or minus based on what happens. Nobody on the offense graded out. The highest grade, I guess we can start here. The highest grade was Nick Harbor, who graded out at a 60. He's the only wide receiver who graded out at even a 60. Nobody else graded out that level. And then when you break down that even further, if we're trying to give some positives out, if we're trying to find a silver lining, Nick Harbor did grade out at 81.9 in the run game as far as his run blocking was concerned. So there is some semblance of hope in that what we thought was going to be his weakness, he ended up doing very well in that game. Now, how many snaps there was, I don't have that breakdown in front of me, but Nick graded out the highest out of any wide receivers at a 60%. Nobody else graded out that high. For the whole offense, I did not need a candy bar. Spencer had his lowest grade of the year. Nobody on the offensive line graded above a 60.
Well, I've got. If we're looking Pro Football Focus, Ty has Tyshawn Wanamaker at a 63.
With the addendum in that he only played 11 snaps.
That's a big addendum.
Yeah,
that's a big.
So
addendum.
I did say, and that's a good point. So that was the only addendum was that he did play 11 snaps. So, I mean, we're not going to give any credit for that. Running back, DeCarron Joyner was the highest. Still did not grade out. Graded out a little bit above Mario Anderson. So for the offense, I think that bear out the performance that we saw. When you see a team that does not get into the end zone, that struggles on third down conversions, has to settle for field goals, you would imagine that their grades would ended up looking like this. So offensively, that was that performance.
The one I say disappointing. I think he's had a fine season. I'd like to know maybe the season average or the season total, because maybe you expected a little bit more out of him, was Nick Gargiulo and what he did, because you mentioned it. And yes, his grade very low on Saturday, maybe one of his lowest of the season. 54.1 is what I'm seeing on Pro Football Focus. That offensive line, you're right, as a whole, very, very poor on Saturday. But looking at some of these guys now, just real quick snap count, it looks like Trevon Ball, Nick Gargiulo, and Trey Jones all played the maximum snaps in 74. Tree Babalade went down. We'll hear more about his injury today, and you hope he's okay. He played 63, so he missed 11 snaps. That's where you get the other ones that come in. But certainly when you look at this overall, Preston, offensively, it starts with that offensive line. And you've got the young guys on the way that are in recruiting. We're talking about recruiting there in Cam Pringle and Josiah Thompson and Blake Franks, and maybe they're able to land one more. You've got the other young guys, Babalade and Ball, who seem to be playing pretty good. You're missing Marquis Anderson. Cason Henry is a redshirt freshman they're hoping for. So your young core is guys you like. Now I think the question is, I'm watching, and you weigh in on this, Lonnie Teasley develop guys throughout the season. Because you and I talked a lot about this in the preseason. You would think we're referencing the first scrimmage, saying you hope the defensive line was ahead of the offensive line. How have you seen, from Preston Thorne's point of view, this offensive line, especially guys like Gargiulo who've played a lot, Babalade? How have you seen progress?
I think they've had progress from the first game, obviously. This particular game was an absolute regression. They did not play well, and that can happen. But I don't think this game is necessarily indicative of the progress that they've made from the first game, if that makes any sense. So they've definitely have gotten better. there was a little bit of a change of tempo when they changed the positions out and they put Nick at center. He seemed to anchor the offensive line. So this one, I'm not saying this was an anomaly because they haven't been great all year, but I don't think they've been this bad all year. So they have improved. Also with Mario Anderson did not grade out well in that game, so that can help with that. Spencer Rattler did not grade out well in that game. So overall, offensively, it was probably the poorest performance of the season.
Just real quick, Omega Blake leads the wide receiving group, I should say, with 58 snaps. Nick Harbor, this is the most you've seen from him, 57 snaps. So that grade, as you mentioned, the run blocking grade, kind of nice to see. He was out there on a good bit of snaps, 57. Amarion Brown saw 34 before his injury. Xavier Legette just got 19 snaps. Another freshman there in Tyshawn Russell with 17 snaps. I think it has been interesting because I believe it was the Georgia game where you saw Luke Doty come out and start at wide receiver. He only gets 11 snaps at this point in the season. I do wonder what his future is now, because that texter was going to that was going about the Lenora Sellers question, I think, is when do you start to try and maybe give him a few snaps? And I will say again, I think that texter goes back to an interesting point, because after the Vanderbilt game, you've only got 2 left. So the effort here is to preserve Lenora Sellers' red shirt while also getting him some game snaps. But Luke Doty with 11 snaps there, I'm kind of interested to see what the plan for his future is now at this point.
That's a really interesting point. For the wide receivers, as far as the snaps are concerned, we don't know whether that was the actual plan for Nick Harbor at the beginning of the game. Was he planning to get that many snaps, or was it because of injury due to Excel's injury? Also, have to make sure we make this point. Just because Nick is here now doesn't mean he was there at the beginning when he came in. So a lot of people were screaming for him, why isn't he playing? I don't know. I'm not in there. I don't know the conversation, but I do know that players progress over a season. And it could be just the fact that he wasn't necessarily ready and he's gotten better. Obviously, he has the athletic tools and talent to get himself better. And he could have just progressed to the point where now he's ready to step on the field and make an impact. So the offense, that was their poorest performance all year, and you could just see it reflected throughout all of the grades. All right, defensively, let's start up front. We had a couple of closeouts, but I made an executive decision that in a loss, we will not round up. No rounding up in a loss. If we lose, you round down. So Boogie Huntley was the closest to grading out at a 69, but we're not going to round that up because we lost. So we don't do that.
But he was a tough teacher. Just thinking.
Yeah.
It's just kind of well. Here's the thing: if you lose, we can't round you up on that because
absolutely.
we didn't do well.
No, I honestly, I really think you were probably a very fair teacher, because I think the way you approach things,
just trying to be a little bit fair.
Yeah.
Also, to that point, when I was teaching, if I saw grades like this on a test, I would know it was my fault.
Yeah.
Because if everybody fails in the class,
correct.
If everybody fails, it's the teacher's fault. Something did not happen in translation. You could usually look to maybe 4 or 5 students, and when you see their grades go low, you're like, oh, I didn't explain this well enough, because there's no way that this student failed. Now, when Bill fails, that's just par for the course.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem with him failing. I could explain it to him. I could explain it to him 20 times. He doesn't get it, whatever. Yep. But if Jen fails, I got to go back and look and see, like, man, maybe I didn't explain some things. So, not rounding up. Nobody on the D-line graded out. Linebackers, Debo had the highest grade at a 61. The rest of them, let's just say, Bill, if we took an aggregate for the linebacker grades, we would not be above 50. And we don't have to say specifically what the grades are.
Mm-hmm.
Not good for any of the other ones, whether it was the freshman, Stone Blanton, or whoever played linebacker. Very, extremely low.
It's interesting on the defensive line because you look at the snap count, and it does look like there was a lot of substituting in and out. TJ Sanders played 42 snaps, and I think he's actually progressed very nicely this year, which I think is more frustrating because it feels like a guy is playing better, but the defense is playing worse. Boogie Huntley had 39 snaps, and I'm talking about on the interior of the line here. Tonka Hemingway had 28 snaps. Nick Barrett had 15 snaps in there as well. Jamal Weiss, another redshirt freshman, kind of a bigger guy, around 325, 330, had 4 snaps. So you see some guys in there getting more snaps and what they were trying to do. with substitutions and whatnot, but it still didn't seem to pay off because going back to it, you didn't get high performances there. And then the linebacker position, Debo Williams with 53, Stone Blanton with 50, Pup Howard had 14, and Bam Martin Scott just 11.
Yeah, and none of them played well. Debo made it, and this is where we always got to make sure that we not get caught up on statistics. Debo made a lot of tackles. He led the team in tackles. That does not necessarily mean that he played well.
Right.
You can be in position to make some tackles, but a lot more about linebackers, as Will Muschamp would have told us about run fits and all those types of things. And it, from my naked eye, without having access to the all 22 film, it looked like we've struggled mightily on fitting in gaps. Okay. Defensively, though, the folks who did grade out. So there was some folks who graded out on the back end. O.D. Fortune graded out with 76. So we will give him a fun size Snickers.
Okay, 58 snaps for him.
Mm-hmm. Nicky Manwari graded out with a 73, so that's a fun size Snickers for him.
63 snaps.
And Marcellus Dow just in above the cut at 71.1. So in the secondary, they played decently. Not well enough to win, obviously, but there was some bright spots in the secondary.
803-404-6100. We'll come back. We'll reanalyze that and have final thoughts here from hour number one. You're listening to Preston Thorne, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer, live from Backstreet Grill in Columbia, Thursday at 6 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more. Just team football, said Kirk Cousins. Lots of guys making plays. Cousins' offensive line made plays, yielding 0 sacks and 45 pass attempts. And the Vikings defense picked Brock Purdy twice in the fourth quarter of Minnesota's 22-17 upset of San Francisco. I'm Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio.
Snap into action this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
Must be present in a state where lawful to wager. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under an agreement with Kansas Star Casino LLC. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Tennessee, and Virginia. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana, 1-800-522-4700 or visit KSGambling Help.com in Kansas, 1-877-770-STOP in Louisiana. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia or call 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelpma.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts or call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-659-8080. That's 1-800-659-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-659-8080. That's 1-800-659-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
What's for dinner? Burgers?
After last week, no thanks.
Avoiding foods due to fear of diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools? It may not be just stomach issues. It could be EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency. EPI can cause uncomfortable symptoms because it's a condition where the pancreas doesn't release enough digestive enzymes to break down food. But EPI can be managed. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor about your symptoms. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
The early game
with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Final segment of the hour. Jason Sherbert due up in about 15 minutes. Preston's got to run out today. But we've got a lot going on. Remind you, Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer, 6 o'clock on Thursday night. So we'll hear from Shane Beamer today, his weekly press conference, 1:30 right here on 107.5 The Game, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. Or you can hear from Shane Beamer again on Thursday night. Carolina Calls over at Backstreet's Grill, 6 o'clock. And again, that'll be right here on 107.5 The Game or on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. 803-404-6100 if you want to weigh in this morning. So, Preston, everything you saw there, I think it's safe to say that was the worst performance of the year for this team.
Overall,
top to bottom,
everybody. And we don't do special teams, but they didn't play well overall either. Kai Kroger continues to not provide the extra boost that he provided in years past. So yeah, top to bottom, that was the worst performance.
Yeah, where they go from here this week in the practice, I think is demoralizing when you see this as a player, and you feel it. What is it like at practice? I mean, how much accountability do you have, or how much do you start to look at your coach and be like, yeah, this guy's not putting us in the right place? Where does it become a little bit too polarizing, or the tensions start to rise between players and coaches?
It can definitely happen. Sometimes you get the players, and I don't know what the relationships were previously, but there can be situations where players start looking at coaches like, for instance, I haven't been too fond of the doctor of defense, Rick Minner, when he was our DC. That is an old game, but that 0-4 game against Ole Miss, they figured something out against us where they would motion a guy and they would line up in a certain personnel. I think it was 20 personnel, and we would adjust to that, and they would just gash us, and there was nothing we can do. And we never made an adjustment. And at a certain point, and then after that game, if you go back and watch the film the rest of the year, every team did the same thing to us, and we never adjusted. And eventually it got frustrating as a player because you're looking around like, I mean, we're not smart enough to figure this out, but surely you are. Can you put us in a position that we can be successful? And the relationships weren't great to start with, so it was very easy for that to fracture. I don't know what's going on over there now, but that is a possibility where players start looking around and hoping to be put in a position for success.
To be put in a better position, I guess, to do. I will say the one thing is you've got coaches that have been there. So maybe those, those relationships, as you said, instead of Rick Minner coming in for 1 year and you not knowing, maybe those relationships can help you out of this.
That's what's going to pull you through a tough time like this, because teams go through tough times, and everybody's going to have to look at each other, rely on the relationship they've had previously, and hope that moves them forward.
We will obviously get more into Texas A&M tomorrow and Thursday and Friday, but you look at that team, and they're coming off a bye, and, the soap opera that is Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino, who knows how that's working out inside those actual football offices. Like, at least nobody's strangled each other on the sideline. But the part about that is Bobby Petrino does know how to scheme up. And if he sees flaws in your defense, he can take advantage of it very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we can talk. I will talk all the trash I can about Bobby Petrino as far as his morality and his ethics, but again, he can draw up some ball plays.
Now, are we able to do the same? Because you say, okay, they're able to capitalize on things of our flaw. How much are we able to capitalize if we see weaknesses in a team? Are we seeing that we have that ability?
I think maybe so. the offense and the defense, when you're in survival mode, when you're just trying to get to the next play, I don't know if you're able to take advantage of their weaknesses because you're just trying to get something to happen. I think that's where we are offensively. You would
that's
love
what
to.
I was wondering.
I would imagine Dow sits and sees things that he could do and wishes he could do, but you just can't do it for whatever reason.
Yeah, the offensive line, I mean, again, I don't know where you draw the line, and it's easy, I think, for people to say, oh, that's just an excuse. Injuries are just an excuse. And I get that to an extent. I really do. But I also, you look at the fact that South Carolina is missing what they thought would be their two starting tackles, and Jalen Nichols and Kason Henry. You've had other guys get injured. Now, I think the good news is, and there is a silver lining to the injuries, Tree Babalade has come in and has gotten valuable experience. And, you know, with another year in the strength and conditioning program, which I think is something else that you do question, because you don't question, are they strong or are they in shape? There is, I think, a correlation between not being strong enough in the game, in the SEC football game or in college football, and getting injured. You know, if you and I just go against each other 60 times, you're bigger, stronger, sooner or later, I'm going to get injured. It's just the way it is. Am I right on that? That if you just keep in football, if you just keep going against stronger guys,
yeah, well,
there's going to be an injury.
The whole point of you lifting all of those weights is to build sort of an armor for your body that you can take those bumps and bruises that happen throughout the course of a game. Is your body limber enough to be put in the odds positions that you will be throughout the game and recover than you will, as opposed to if you get put in one of those situations, does your body break down? That's the whole point. It's not about how much you bench or how, you know,
right,
how good you look when you pulling weights. Can your body be resistant enough to the inevitable bad situations that you will be put in throughout a football game?
Yeah, that to me is one question I have is, if you're not strong enough, it's like you said, it's fine to be strong and to go in there and to squat 600 pounds and bench 345, whatever, but you also got to be some kind of naturally, so I don't know the proper terminology, that when you're getting bent a little bit, your body can handle it and maybe push back and keep yourself from being bent with your knee, or, you know, even I think there's something, I know some of them are just simple things of getting rolled up on, but that's because you're probably in a bad position already to allow yourself.
A lot of times you get rolled up on because you're already in a bad position. But you know, they would say it's like the big difference between being an oak tree that snaps or maybe a bamboo that can wiggle with the wind, and you're still strong, but you bend a little bit more.
I think that's what I've been labeled as, a bamboo that can wiggle.
Bamboo that can wiggle. There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, definitely not a strong oak.
No, I don't disagree with that at all. At all. Hour 2 on the way.
Not sure about your flexibility either, though.
Preston's got to get out of here. Hour 2 on the way.
Preston here, let me tell you about my friends at Absolute Glass, the premier glass company of the Midlands, offering auto, home, and business glass repair. So listen, if your glass is damaged, shattered, cracked, or broken, they can handle the job. Cracked windshield, no problem. They'll come out to your location to replace it for you, usually for free, and they'll work directly with the insurance to take away the headache. So if you're at your job and you can't get off because your boss won't let you take a long lunch and you can't get to your appointment, they can come out to you, take care of it in the parking lot, and before you leave the end of that day, they'll have you squared away. So our friends at Absolute Glass can take care of that for you. Also, if you're looking to increase the value of your home with new windows and mirrors, Absolute Glass will take care of that for you also. Windows, mirrors, shower enclosures. I say it all the time. If you can see through it, Ray and Marianne at Absolute Glass can do it. So check them out online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com. That's online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Fall is a perfect time to replace those old, outdated, drafty windows with replacement windows from Renewal by Andersen that can completely transform the look of your home. Schedule your free, no obligation, in-home consultation today at freewindowassessment.com.
Don't miss Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning's thrilling fall sale. Call now and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game to get 3 rooms cleaned for $129. Or schedule online, ZerorezColumbia.com. Zerorez, spell it backwards or forwards, is the right way to clean.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Hostetler Brown. Do you know the difference between a revocable trust and an irrevocable trust? The difference could easily save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in long-term care costs. Visit lawyerlisa.com to schedule a consultation today.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Daddy, you need a trust.
Plus, text entitled with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant, Dodge Land on Greystone, is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. 12 grand off new Rams at Dodge Land on Greystone. JT'sDodge.com.
107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Couple tie-ups out there to make you aware of. Augusta Road at Laurel Road. Also, Broad River Road at Woodrow Street, an accident there. And Highway 378 after Pineview Road. There appears to be an object on the highway. Pretty decent forecast. 74 for the high today. Overnight low, another cool start. 47 that overnight low. Sunny tomorrow and a high of 78. And then we're in the low 80s through Saturday. Saturday we're 83, and then we're staying in that vicinity really through Monday. So very nice. Right now, though, it's 44 on the Earth Game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
This is Gamecock quarterback Spencer Rattler, and you're listening to 107.5 The Game, the home of the Gamecocks.
A Cumulus media station.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter.
I love this photo.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne and Jen Jensen.
My
Now
eyes
you're
look
shy.
phenomenal. The blue in my eye stands out so well.
The day of the photos, I believe the quote was, "I love how it makes my eyes pop."
My eyes, yeah.
It does.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
I love me some me.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Hour number 2 as we roll along on a Tuesday morning. Bill Gunter, Jen Jensen, joined here in just a minute by J.C. Sherbert. We'll get into some Carolina football recruiting. Also, just get his big overall picture on what South Carolina needs to do. There's 5 games left. This is the weird part is, I know a lot of people already starting to write the season off because of these last 3 games, and we'll get into that with J.C. Sherbert. Real quick, do want to mention last night you did have some success for South Carolina, okay? Not necessarily the program right now, but Jordan Montgomery, well, he'll be pitching in the World Series. Rangers destroy the Astros last night. They win the ALCS 4-3. They won last night 11-4. The Rangers will be in the World Series. I don't know if that draws any of you into it. I mentioned a long time ago, I think maybe off air to Preston, we were laughing. I was like, yeah, we're heading after the Braves were eliminated. I was like, yeah, we're heading for a Rangers Diamondbacks World Series. And I don't know how pumped up America would be for the national pastime to feature the Rangers and the Diamondbacks. But Diamondbacks last night, they win again, and there will be a Game 7 between Philly and Arizona with the winner heading on that game. The game again, the winner, excuse me, I'm trying to get it out straight. The winner will head on to the World Series and take on the Texas Rangers. But good news there, Jordan Montgomery being able to go and pitch in the World Series. Not sure. He has been starting game one. I'll be under the assumption that he will get the ball in game one. And again, tonight, you'll have game 7, Phillies and Diamondbacks. So good thing there for South Carolina. 803-404-6100. If you hear anything this morning that you want to text in on the Firehouse Subs text line, feel free to do that. Joining me now, as he does each and every Tuesday, is J.C. Sherbert. And well, J.C., the good news is Jordan Montgomery is going to pitch in the World Series. Not a whole lot other good news to discuss when it pertains to South Carolina football right now.
Yeah, that game in Missouri really didn't. I mean, the Florida game was a gut punch. That one, once Xavier went out, Bill, I was like, there's no chance. I mean, and then I was like, well, there goes that game. And then when Babalade went out, and I probably overreacted to this because I thought about it later, and it's not true. But I was like, well, there goes the season.
That might have been a bit.
And look, here's the thing. A lot of people say injuries are a crutch and all that. But look, man, the reality is, and I'll give you 2 examples during the game. Tyshawn Russell, I'm not going to get on him for dropping that pass because he's a freshman. He ran a great route. He was open. Just dropped it. Juice Wells doesn't drop that ball. Late in the game, Omega Blake, when they throw that pass they normally throw to Xavier comes down with that ball 9 times out of 10. When you're missing your best players, it gets really, really dicey. And that's the offense. Defensively, I'm not over the whole let's give up 24 points in the first half and then adjust and then, they adjusted and did better. I mean, it really puts everybody else kind of behind the 8 ball when you do that. I've seen other teams adjust in the first half. I don't know. I have no answers for why that is. But, there's really no – in some games, I think, especially a couple of years ago when South Carolina was really lacking talent, you kind of take solace in the fact, well, they won the second half. They're getting there, whatever. Not now. I mean, not with this defense that really is somewhat healthy and has some older players and, should be better. Missouri's a good offensive team. There's nothing you can do about Luther Burden catching a touchdown pass with a double team. I thought that was smart, but just kind of this thing where they'll stop them, and then all of a sudden Schrader goes up the middle for 9 yards. I mean, why is it this inconsistent? Why are they getting owned? Missouri has outscored the Gamecocks in all 3 games that Beamer's lost in the first half, 58-10. The Gamecocks have outscored them 40-30 in the second half. So it's the same old story with the defense not being able to stop anybody first half. And I don't know why that is. Eli Drinkwitz didn't even call him the plays anymore. It's Kellen Moore's brother, Kirby. He does a great job, by the way. He's improved them, actually. But, they just get owned, and they don't seem to want to do anything about it until the second half. So that's a different – defense and offense are 2 different stories. I actually feel very bad for the coaches and players on offense just because, man, you have something going with your offensive line finally against Florida, and Vershawn Lee goes out. Are you kidding me? I mean, that was kind of he moves out to tackle. Everybody's playing well. It's one of the best games the Lions played. You're running it, you're throwing it, and then he goes out. And then when Tree went out the other day, I was like, I can't believe this. I mean, there are 4 potential starting offensive tackles sidelined. How can you win that way? And for those out there that want to bash Dowell Loggins and pick it all apart because you didn't like the fact his name was Dowell Loggins. And look, I'll be honest, I wasn't fired up about the hire either. So maybe I'm being hypocritical here, but I'm, smart enough to change my mind. Think back to the Steve Spurrier days, man. He used to start every year. He didn't have a line. They took John Hunt and those guys a while to figure it out. They didn't go very far. They scored, and that's one of the best play callers in the history of the game. Skip Holt's a pretty good play caller. How many points did he score in 1999 when 8 of their top 10 linemen were hurt? Not very many, Bill. Now, toward the end of the year, they got healthy and put some points on the board against Clemson. But, think about the past to kind of apply it to the situation they're in. And then you're missing your top two playmakers and Juice and Xavier all of a sudden. I mean, it's getting dicey on that side of the ball. The defense, they need to get better. I mean, there's some issues there. But offensively, I don't know what more you could ask for. Catch the ball. I mean, I get that, but I think that they sort of have schemed things up and make plays in spite of themselves right now at this point, just because, I mean, the floodgates are open up front.
I think it at this time, and again, as I was saying when we opened the segment, there's still 5 games left, but it is a time to revisit each and every little part of the program, and one of those is the strength and conditioning program. And I'm not saying that it's the issue, JC, but you mentioned it, and I do wonder if it's not a matter of is South Carolina players strong enough. It's are you strong enough to compete in the SEC against some of these teams? That would be my question. Are you strong enough to go out? Because again, as I was saying with Preston, if you keep getting hit, sooner or later, your body kind of wears down. That's why you have basically 9 months of off-season training. That's why a lot of coaches now say the most important coach they have on their staff is their strength and conditioning coach, because they get so much time with the players. Just overall thoughts right now, again, and because I'm not saying that he's the problem. I'm not saying he's not the problem. But overall thoughts on Luke Day's strength and conditioning program, and if it needs to be tweaked or changed a little bit this coming off season to change the physical nature, the physical stature of South Carolina players, or maybe if it's you need to have a more physical preseason practice. Is there something there to that?
No, I think those are very surface level things. Everybody wants to blame the strength coach. I remember a few years back, Clemson wanted to run their strength coach out of town, and next thing you know, they won how many national championships and looked like $1 million. At this point, Bill, here's my thinking. But if there is if this is just not, if it's not just the football gods, right? And when you have a situation like this year after year after year through 2 different coaching staffs, right? And how many 3 different strength coaches have been here, okay? And you have it year after year after year after year. And really, you get hurt in other sports too around here. I mean, almost every program among the big, I don't even think women's basketball had a bad injury this past season or last year. I think what you got to start looking at is you got to dig, and maybe there's not an answer. But if you're Shane Beamer, Ray Tanner, the powers that be this off season, I think you're just digging into everything. You're digging into strength and conditioning. You're digging into nutrition. You're digging into the training staff. You're digging into the medical staff. And you got to, and maybe the answer is yes, they put a ton of resources into it or whatever. You got to ask yourself, hey, are we doing everything we can to make sure these guys stay healthy? And maybe they are. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but I would, if it were me, I would sit there and say, all right, there may be something wrong. We need to look into it and see, like, do there need to be personnel changes? Is it that easy, or is it something they're doing, or is it something maybe they're not investing enough in things? I don't know. I don't know. Those are all answers above my head. But I do think that at this point, man, you start looking around, you're like, well, if you'd have this guy, and it's been 3 years now, and it was that way the whole time in the Muschamp era. You don't have the depth at South Carolina, and you're not going to for a while, right, to compete when half your starters are out every week. And and like I said, maybe it's just the football gods or whatever. But I think that's something that needs to be looked at least explore it, study it, look at it, dig into it. Talk to other people, find out what other schools do. And then if there's something that needs to be addressed, address it. If there's not, just, say a prayer and move forward.
We'll talk a little bit about what you mentioned, developing depth, that recruiting class and kind of where you see it. It's hard to believe, JC, but that recruiting class, the early signing period now less than 2 months away, 5 games to be played. You feel like everything's right now pretty firm with commitments. Dylan Stewart's being at every home game he can possibly be at. Obviously, he would be a big part of it. Cam Fountain, the defensive end out of Atlanta. Booker T. Washington, who is committed to Southern Cal, is still a possible flip. We know where South Carolina need some help, but I want your opinion on it and maybe how they can do it and what they have to address in the transfer portal to provide instant help. We'll get into that. Little recruiting talk, transfer portal talk when we come back. You're listening to the Tuesday morning edition of the early game. J.C. Sherbert joining us right here.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
The Shane Beamer Weekly Presser, sponsored by Pete Ale Wine Pools and Spas. Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Plus, text tags entitled with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT's Kia goes where no Kia dealer has gone before. Save thousands off new Kias. Save thousands in interest. 3.75% Telluride, Sorrento's, Carnivals. Get 20% more for your trade. Up to $6,000 more. No payments till next year. And never, ever pay more than sticker. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT'sKia.com.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton Law Firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Palmetto Propane, a family-owned company, has been delivering propane to homes and businesses for more than 60 years. With professional installation, exceptional service, and premium gas log and outdoor fire features, we're proud to be South Carolina's leading full-service propane and fuel provider. And our online payment and scheduling give you the access you need anytime, anywhere. Visit us at palmettopropane.com to connect with us and to find a location near you.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 803-824-4210.
Columbia's Secret for Weight Loss changed my life. I've lost over 50 pounds. Not only did I lose fat, I significantly lowered my A1C in making better choices that are sustainable. Throughout this program, the guidance and accountability help create a pathway to a healthier, better me.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-824-4210. That's 803-824-4210. Or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Well, things have gotten better out on the highways. Earlier accidents have been cleared, and that is wonderful news. We will take that. And as far as your forecast is concerned, we'll take that as well. 74 for the high today, that overnight low of 47. And then we hit 78 on Wednesday, and really we're in the low to mid 80s really through about Monday. Sunny conditions pretty much every day. No rain in the forecast at this time. So very good news. And right now, it is that cooler start, though. Bundle up. It's 44 on the early game.
The Early Game with Bill Gunter.
Former Gamecock Preston Thorne.
And Jen Jensen, your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:18 on a Tuesday morning. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and joined as always on a Tuesday by J.C. Sherbert. I'm not trying to write off the final 5 games, J.C. Look, this team, I think when you have a quarterback like Spencer Rattler, if you can get for Sean Lee healthy, we'll learn today more about Big Tree Babalade. If you can get Mario Anderson just a little healthier, maybe Xavier Leggette's fine. That your offense, I think, gives you a puncher's chance in every game. Unfortunately, I think all 5 games are also losable. I think it could go one of two. It could go either way. If this team let me ask you this: if this team just finds it's confident, do you think it's a confidence issue?
Well, yeah, winning helps. I mean, look, man, here's the thing, and this is another one of those things that tends to be looked at as an excuse, by myself included, with the schedule. But this is not, I mean, Bill, you've been going to Carolina games a long time. Can you ever remember when the schedule was this front loaded and there were very little home games, and then there's 4 home games in November, including 2 that you always kind of chalk up as wins, maybe 3 if you count Kentucky. I don't know if you count Kentucky these days, but I've never, I don't think Carolina's played very many schedules like this. Usually, it may be tough for a few weeks, and then you have the get-right games, and then it has a nice flow to it, but it's not been it's been a challenge. Outside of Furman, which is a good football team, Carolina hasn't had, those get-right games, which I think's needed. You think about, like Kentucky's sitting there at 5-2 right now. Well, South Carolina had played, opened the season with Vandy, Jacksonville State, and Kentucky, and Furman. They'd have been 4, and they'd be sitting there, with a good record, with a lot of big games left to go. And typically around here, Carolina starts well and then fades. That hasn't been the case under Beamer, especially in November. But usually that's the case. Usually there's those winnable games come at least in the middle, and they just haven't. There's so it's a weird deal. You're sitting there at 2-5, staring 2-6 at the face, but then you have 4 winnable games in November. Health, getting some key players back will be a big as far as the outcome of those. But Jacksonville State, I got a lot of respect for Rich Rodriguez. He can still coach. They're a good team, but man, you can't lose to a team that's making a transition from FCS, to FBS. They're a proud program. They could beat the Gamecocks for sure. You got to have that one. You've got to beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's getting better, so it's not, that's not going to be what I call easy. But you should beat Vanderbilt at home. By the time you play Kentucky, Kentucky's got to go through Tennessee, Mississippi State, Alabama, and then one other one that's not going to be too pleasant for them. So you don't know what kind of condition they're going to be in when they come in at the end. Same with Clemson, whereas South Carolina's schedule sort of lightens up. Clemson has a lot of tough games, starting with NC State this weekend where they struggle historically. I think they'll beat them for the record. Then Notre Dame comes to town, North Carolina comes to town, Georgia Tech comes to town, and then they come to South Carolina. So you don't know what kind of condition they're going to be in. If you talk about kind of the luck the Gamecocks normally have, Clemson will probably win all of them, come in on a roll, but they haven't really shown that that's the type of team they are yet this year. Right now, I'd say in Columbia, it's probably a toss-up, although the visiting team normally does play better in that rivalry series. So, and then if you can win those three, if you can beat Jacksonville State, Vanderbilt, Kentucky, and you've got a 3-game win streak, that does a lot for you. Keep in mind, last season, the Georgia game was a disaster. And everybody's, oh, God, blah, blah, blah. Well, next thing you know, you got Charlotte and NC State. You get right. You go to Kentucky and win, and then it kind of culminates with that win over Texas A&M. And frankly, if you had a little bit better game planning and stuff, you'd have probably beaten Missouri last year. But it's been done before. 4 wins in a row have been done before, including last year, especially when you have, some games you should win, that you match up well and you should win. Now, Jacksonville State and Vandy, are they anything like Charlotte and SC State last year? No, I don't expect the Gamecocks to score half 100 back-to-back games against those teams. I think they're a lot tougher. But there's still games Carolina matches up with, and that gives teams confidence. I mean, winning does a lot for confidence. Losing can kind of mess with you. Now, the flip side of that, though, Bill, as we saw with Arkansas this past weekend, Arkansas, played LSU off their feet in Baton Rouge. They played Bama off their feet in Tuscaloosa, lost a heartbreaker to BYU. They had lost a lot of close games. So you think, oh, Mississippi State's a team that can, and then you saw what happened. So sometimes losing can then lead to that catastrophic loss. And then that's a different situation. South Carolina needs to avoid that if at all possible. So, that's the deal. I mean, A&M this weekend, you go out there, you shoot your shot. You don't ever concede a game. You go out there and compete. Sometimes the Aggies don't show up for whatever reason, especially under Jimbo Fisher. So you got to play your best and take your shot. I mean, it's going to be a brutal matchup with their defensive line because that's the strength of their team. And unfortunately, it's a revolving door on offense for the Gamecocks on that line of scrimmage this year. But you go out there, it's an 11 a.m. kickoff. You don't know, probably not going to, maybe a late arriving crowd. You seize momentum. Anything can happen. So, but realistically, even if you drop that game this weekend, those last 4, you turn it around, you win them, you get to the Gasparilla Bowl down in Tampa, Birmingham, something like that. You hope you're against a team you can match up with there. Who knows with opt-outs and everything else. And you try to get to 7 wins, and you say, all right, well, that was a down year, but you're still heading kind of in the right direction. The season is not lost. You have a second straight win over Clemson. You have a bowl win, that kind of thing. So there's still a lot on the table. And I'll remind everybody, too, not to keep bringing Steve Spurrier up, but I know he's coming to town in a couple of weeks. Well, Coach Spurrier, one of the greatest things he did as a coach, and he did a lot of interesting mental things. They'd set goals, and they'd write all these goals down. Well, one goal could be to win the opener. One could be this. One could be that. And then you cross those off as you go along. Well, then, winning the SEC obviously is off the board, but you still have, hey, winning record, bowl game, win more than you lose, that kind of thing. And so there's still a lot to play for, in terms, and I don't know if Coach Beamer does this or not, but if you still have goals out there to achieve. And I think that keeps teams that, maybe don't have the success kind of focused, and, there's still stuff to play for. So I definitely know there's a lot to play for this season. I don't think it's lost yet. I don't think with a loss this weekend it's lost. If you flip, like I said, those 4 games to the beginning of the year, you're kind of looking at a different scenario. So that's it is a weird, strange schedule for South Carolina this year. Like I said, I can't remember a year where you look at November and go, hey, that's kind of like Tennessee used to kind of have all those easy games in November. I mean, and I'm certainly not saying Clemson and Kentucky are easy. I'm just saying they're winnable, and the Gamecocks match up a hell of a lot better with them than Missouri or Texas A&M or Tennessee or any of those schools they played so far.
803-404-6100. We'll get into a few different things there that JC just brought up. But again, I want to get into recruiting and looking a little bit further ahead, JC, because it's two things. Again, signing day, the early signing period. Less than 2 months away. But with those 4 home games in the month of November, you've got a chance to get recruits on campus. That's been kind of the odd thing, right? Like I was actually talking with a coach about this about a week ago, right now, I guess it was right before the Florida game when South Carolina had a nice list of visitors coming in and said, it's odd. We haven't had these early games to kind of bring guys in to either showcase the atmosphere, showcase the program, showcase some of the things that you normally do when you get early season games. South Carolina will have 4 games at home in November. We'll talk a little bit about that and how it impacts recruiting as well. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner, JC Sherbert, and Jen Jensen.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
There's a whole lot of savings going on now at Staples. During Staples Sit-a-thon, save up to $150 on select office and desk chairs. And when you buy a chair, you save 25% on desks, storage solutions, and office accessories. In-store only offer ends 10/28. Now is the time to save at Staples.
Plus, text entitled with approved credit card 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant, Dodge Land on Greystone, is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. $12,000 off new Rams at Dodge Land on Greystone, jtsdodge.com.
If you have tax problems and want to end the frustration of dealing with the IRS, grab a pen and take down this number. Hi, I'm local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm, located right here in the Midlands. Let us show you what it takes to solve your tax problems once and for all. The first step, which can be one of the hardest, is to take action. Do something. Call me, set an appointment, and meet with me in person. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll show you how to take control of the problem. So if you haven't filed your tax returns for years or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call me, John Ecton, at 803-771-9800. That's 803-771-9800. Or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Learn what it takes to solve your tax problems for good. Take that first step to a better future. Call me, John Ecton.
Hello and welcome to The Kroger Show. At Kroger, everyone wins when it comes to saving big. Because when you order online through the Kroger app, you get the same great prices, deals, and rewards on pickup or delivery that you do in-store with no hidden fees or markups. So no matter how you shop, you'll always save big at Kroger. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Right now, save big on select varieties of Campbell's condensed soup or Kroger pasta. Your choice just 99 cents each with your card and digital coupon. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 803-824-4210.
Hi, I'm Erica, and if you want to lose weight and fix your metabolism, then this is the program for you. I'm down 30 pounds in 7 weeks. My metabolism is alive again, and I feel great. This system will not let you down.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-824-4210. That's 803-824-4210. Or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
Susie Schuster and Amy Trask present offbeat conversations and expert sports commentary as they ask, what the football?
when my family found out how long it took me to figure out why Charles Woodson named his wine Intercept. They said, there's a reason that you had trouble in school.
Not everyone knows, when they think of a bottle of Intercept, they don't know that I played football.
Well, what I've learned is a smooth defensive back can make smooth wine.
That's what it's all about.
What the Football? The podcast is available Tuesdays, wherever you listen. 107.5 The Game on demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Things have picked up a little bit this morning. We do have a little bit of fog reported I-20 both east and westbound at Broad River Road. I-26 eastbound there at Highway 1, the two left lanes are currently blocked. I-77 southbound at Shop Road, an accident there. And before that, I-77 southbound at Exit 12, an accident. 378 near I-77 right there at the VA, there's an accident in that location. So be careful out there this morning if you would. Looking for a high today of 74.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:33 on a Tuesday morning. Coming up on Thursday, I will be down at Grand Strand Nissan down in Myrtle Beach. So, Jen, if you had to describe to the Myrtle Beach folk, the Myrtle Beach people who do not get on our live stream and see this beautiful baby blue-eyed face each and every morning, how would you describe what the Myrtle Beach people can come out and see? That's a good answer. Thank you for that. All right. How do I turn your mic off now?
Oh, no, turn yours off. Okay. So anyway, it needs to be an outdoor venue because getting him through a doorway, the ego is kind of big. So not necessarily fitting through just a normal door frame. Very personable. He'll always look up to you. I think that's about it.
You can also come and take a picture with the Heisman Trophy. I'll be at the Grand Strand Nissan from 1 to 3 down in Myrtle Beach on Thursday. Come by, hang out, say hello, take a picture with the Heisman Trophy, the Heisman
that
House.
was Bill with the Heisman Trophy.
Heisman.
Just make sure you know
the
that.
Heisman Trophy. So come down Grand Strand Nissan down in Myrtle Beach. Look forward to it. I'll be down there from 1 to 3 on Thursday afternoon. And be making some call-ins as well at 100.3, The Game down in Myrtle Beach. So look forward to that. Look forward to coming down there and meeting a lot of people down there as well. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning if you want to do so. So, JC, as we look forward, number one, obviously there are talent issues. Preston and I talked about this morning specifically some of the issues both at linebacker and trying to get to the quarterback at defensive end. You've got Dylan Stewart, top 20 recruit nationally, 5-star prospect, who maybe can come in and help you at the defensive end. And then you've also got, JC has actually dropped off, but as I bring this up, you've got 2 linebackers in this class that could potentially, I say potentially because I think we also expected more from guys at this point, such as a Stone Blanton. Maybe it's unfair to a guy like Pup Howard, even though he enrolled so early. South Carolina has some players in this recruiting class, and part of what has to take place over the next 2 months is holding on to those players. You know very well, especially the out-of-state guys like Wendell Gregory from Walton High School in Marietta, Georgia, who's a big-time 4-star prospect, according to both On3 Sports and 24/7 Sports. He's listed at 6'3", 220 pounds, athletic linebacker. You also look at, again, a guy like Fred Johnson, 6'3", 225 pounds, out of Norfolk, Virginia. Those are two big guys. J.C. Sherbert joining us back now, as we'd lost him for just a second. But, J.C., what I was saying as we lost you was South Carolina looking to add help a lot. We know offensive line, but also on the defense, specifically at linebacker and edge. And you've got these recruits. Tell us a little bit what you've heard about the linebackers, in particular, Wendell Gregory and Fred Johnson.
Well, they're good. They're good players. The question is, are they going to? I mean, there's so many questions about the defense, Bill. I think they're both really very good prospects. As far as what Clayton White likes to do, I think they fit. Beyond that, I don't know. I mean, are they going to portal and linebackers? I mean, I don't know. They passed on some guys. Probably they could have helped them in the portal. They did get Jerron Willis last year.
Real quick on that, on Jerron Willis, he's a young player, because that's another guy. If you look at Stone, you look at Pup, Debo's still relatively young. Jerron Willis was a big-time recruit, but he's a young guy. Do you think it's just him trying to learn the system, get caught up to college football, or has there been injuries there? What do you think has been the issue with Jerron Willis?
I don't know. I mean, he didn't play at Ole Miss hardly at all. I don't know. I haven't heard much about him. I don't know that he's an answer this year, though. I think, I was a little more hopeful that Bam Martin Scott would play better this year. He's got a lot of talent. He makes a lot of plays in practice, from what I'm told. It doesn't always translate to the game. I mean, he's flashed before. I think Pup Howard's going to be a really good player here. I don't know what position. And I don't know, Bill. I'm not Clayton White aside. Just take the scheme out of it and look at the personnel. I'm not so sure that maybe you don't go Jimmy Johnson, and beef up him and Morey and Smith, move him to backer, beef up Pup Howard, move him to edge, that kind of thing. Because there's an awful lot of guys that are like on that plus side of size that are playing the different positions. And I think this year, those guys, Morey and Smith, is it fair to say they've struggled in coverage when they're trying to cover Ricky Pearsall and Luther Burden? Those guys, I don't know. Do I know that they're a hell of a player in the box? Both of them? Yeah, I can tell you that. Both are. So I don't know what the answer is there personnel-wise. I wouldn't mind seeing it tweaked a little bit, but, then there's the whole question of, who plays safety and all that good stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows about the defense, just in terms of, personnel as it fits the scheme, with the current scheme. I always think it's a good idea for coaches not to reinvent themselves. Clayton White likes big 235-pound will linebackers. Go for it. I mean, that's his scheme. That's what he likes. Guys that can kind of get in there and blitz and stuff like that. So I don't know what to think, but there are some guys on this roster that are good football players. And I'm not saying they're out of position, but they're struggling at their current position in some aspects, not every aspect, some aspects. So I don't know what needs to happen there. As far as the portal goes, I would try to get as much depth as I possibly could across the board. Obviously, there's some needs for maybe a younger type defensive tackle or two to come in, I think, because there's, behind the three they've got right now, and Nick Barrett, you can throw Nick Barrett in there too, their top four, there's just not a lot behind them. And they don't have anybody committed from high school ranks. Now in 2025, they're in on some dudes, but the D tackle is going to be huge. Always can use more edge players. Do they go get a guy in the secondary? I don't know. A lot depends on the younger guys and some other stuff. And I'll tell you, if I can get a good linebacker, if I can get Tyrone Hopper or Jalen Moody from Alabama a couple of years ago, this time around I'm going to do it if I'm them, just because that position is better But then Saturday, I think collectively it kind of took a step back. Debo plays his heart out. I have no problem with how he plays the game, but sometimes he does get out of position, and that can be lethal at that spot.
803-404-6100. Let's go back to recruiting right now. How do you feel about the overall class and the commitment level? I guess the foundation of this class for guys like really the out-of-state guys. Wendell Gregory, again, help potentially at linebacker or at edge. Dylan Stewart, obviously an edge guy. And then even a Fred Johnson, and you can go through a few others. But Braden Lee was a guy I know that had Maryland is kind of trying to make a move on a defensive back out of the Maryland place. How do you feel about the commitment status of most of these guys?
Yeah. I'd still keep an eye on Braden Lee a little bit. His visit was good, though. So, sometimes you think maybe you want to stay close to home, and he's been through a lot. I mean, I think he had somebody die and it's death of the family or something. And it's not been the easiest road to hoe for him. And sometimes when that happens, maybe you think stay closer to home. Maryland got off to a really good start this year. They're playing good football, but I think right now it's kind of settled down. The rest of them, Dylan Stewart's at every home game. I think he's locked and loaded. I think he also sees the opportunity to come in and play right away. The rest of the guys, I've heard no rumblings, which is surprising because there's some good players committed. You'd think some of these schools would kind of look, South Carolina 2-5. Let's go see if we can pluck one off. But that's kind of a testament to the job Taylor Edwards does, and kind of keeping everything in line. He's one of the best I've ever seen. And I know a lot of guys that do his job at a lot of different schools. He's one of the best I've seen at thinking 3D about recruiting. In other words, he'll kind of think of potential issues before there's potential issues and head them off. And that doesn't always happen around here in the past. So I think that's just a testament to him and what he does, kind of heading up the recruiting efforts and Shane Beamer and the culture like they talk about and all that. I haven't. No, it's recruiting. So I'd be a real idiot if I guaranteed nothing bad would happen, because once you do that, then bad things happen. But right now I've heard no rumblings of anything in terms of losing guys out of the class.
Yeah, that would be important to hold on.
Now you don't have to worry.
We'll come back. Hold on, we'll come back and hit that.
Yeah, worry about 2020. 2025 may be a different story. That's sometimes how a down season can hurt you, is that next class. So
we'll get into a few more of that and get your final thoughts here as we wrap up hour number 2 on the early game. JC Sherbert, Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen again. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer, live from Backstreet Grill in Columbia, Thursday at 6 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Esiason with the CBS Sports Minute. It's instructive to see how coaches respond to defeat, especially those who don't follow the classic Bill Belichick or on to Cincinnati approach. Dan Campbell claimed his Lions probably needed that blowout loss to Baltimore in order to refocus. And Mike McDaniel said, you can learn a lot from losses, especially to good teams on the road, as the Dolphins found out against Philadelphia. Boomer Esiason.
CBS Sports Radio. eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hey, did you know Vistaprint prints everything a small business needs? Like if a barbershop needs signage, we print outdoor signs, posters, and banners. Or if a ballet school needs merch,
1, 2,
we print tote bags, t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Or if a coffee shop needs a total refresh,
vanilla latte for Mike.
Vistaprint designs logos and prints it on menus, mugs, paper bags, anything. Because with Vistaprint, the printabilities are endless. Print it all with 25% off for new customers with code NEW25 at Vistaprint.com.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. No pressure buying. Best in class service. And a $1,000 low price guarantee. The season's always better in a Love Chevrolet. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
If you're looking for the latest athletic shoe styles from famous name brands, go straight to Todd & More, your hometown sports store on 620 Hugie Street. Always the best prices and selections for everyone. Open 10 to 6 Monday through Saturday, just below the Coliseum near Blossom.
Life matters. The New York Times, April 5th, 1974, read Fred Snodgrass, 86, dead. Ball player muffed, 1912 fly. Snodgrass was in his 90s, but he was remembered for a fielding error when he played for the New York Giants 62 years earlier. Some moments stay with you forever. I seem to remember every error, every missed shot, every bad move of my ancient high school sports career. His manager, John McGraw, saw the error in perspective. Yes, it was a World Series, but even a tough competitor like McGraw knew Snodgrass didn't deserve the grief he received. So he raised his salary by $1,000. When you drop a fly ball, you need a friend like McGraw. You need a friend like that when your business goes under, or your marriage ends, or you do something hopelessly wrong. Thank God for everyone in your life who stands by you in those times of trouble. This is Pastor Stephen Chitty. Life matters, and so do you.
Plus, text entitled with proof. Credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant, Dodge Land on Greystone, is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. $12,000 off new Rams at Dodge Land on Greystone, jtsdodge.com.
Early game.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$7:49 on a Tuesday morning. Shane Beamer said to talk later today, 1:30. Shane Beamer weekly press conference. You can hear it right here on 107.5 The Game, as well as 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. So we'll have that, and we'll catch up on some of these injuries and see what the latest is and how healthy South Carolina is. And JC, you look at this game this weekend. Give me your quick take on Texas A&M as a program, because, man, you know, their fans, they expect them. They're paying a lot of money to Jimbo Fisher, and it's not to lose to Miami on the road, and it's not to lose to Alabama. It's not to lose to Tennessee, kind of like South Carolina. The losses are to respectable teams. I don't know if you throw Florida necessarily in that category, but Florida's still got a winning record and has a chance still to technically win the East. But those are games that they're paying Jimbo Fisher to win, and with Texas coming into the league, people are going to get fired up. What's your take on Texas A&M right now with Jimbo Fisher leading them as an overall program?
I think they pay too much for Jimbo Fisher. You can kind of see Jimbo's trajectory at Florida State wasn't good. And there were reasons for that, you know. The best year they've had is the pandemic year when they went 10-1 or whatever. You think they're on the way, and then they're not. And you have that recruiting class that everybody loved and was number one, and they come in, and there were a lot of bad apples there culturally. That led to last season's disaster. And then you look at this year, and look, I'm speaking of A&M in general,
right?
Yeah. How they match up with Carolina this weekend, because I think they're the rightful favorites. But man, it's tough. I mean, it's the same A&M. You know, I think their fan base got a big boost when they came in the league. Johnny Manziel sort of set the country on fire, and they're like, "We've arrived. We're in the mighty SEC. We went 11-2, and historically they're a 7 or 8 win football team. That's just the way it's been. Unfortunately, they've had moments. They have many more moments than Carolina, especially back in the day, Southwest Conference. They won the Big 12 one time. But it's just it's not as good of a job as you'd think. They've got resources out the yank, but something just doesn't go right. I don't know, who do you get? You know, that they've tried everybody. They've tried a young up and comer like Kevin Sumlin. They've tried NFL guys. You know, it was the guy before him, Mike Sherman. You've tried the no-brainer hire, Dennis Francione, when you took him from Alabama. You know, Bear Bryant won there, R.C. Slocum won there, Jack Sherrill won there. But, you know, you move on from Jimbo, what do you do? I thought Petrino would work out better than he is, to be honest, and I don't know what that dynamic's like. But they're not really good at blocking, and Max Johnson isn't as good as he maybe was at LSU. Probably have a career day Saturday, right? But that's been the issue with them, is offensively they're just right now their defense has come into their own a little bit since that Miami game. But you know, they just they couldn't get it going very well against Tennessee or Alabama offensively. So it's one of those things where, I mean, I you know, is he going to get fired? Probably not. You know, if he loses this weekend, could they fire him Monday? Probably so. But you know, I've always had a lot of respect for Jimbo Fisher. When I was a reporter at ESPN, he was always really good to me, and doing interviews and stuff when he first got the Florida State job. So I hate to say this, but I've never really, you know, after that national championship at FSU and seeing that program decline like it did, I kind of had a lot of questions as to whether or not he would be the guy at A&M, especially with his style of offense, because no high schools in the state of Texas are like that pro style deal. They're all spread. It's all a bunch of spread kids. And so sometimes you got to kind of look at where you are, and, you know, that's the kind of system you need to run. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with A&M, but certainly I don't think they're where their fans expected them to be after sinking all that money into Jimbo and then NIL that 1 year. I think there's probably a lot of oil people that are, you know, hesitant to write checks at this point.
Biggest thing, about a minute and a half left with you. Biggest thing South Carolina has to fix this week, and I don't mean just the defense. I mean, is it stopping the pass? Is it stopping the run against Texas A&M, or is it just simply outscoring Texas A&M, knowing you're going to probably give up 30 plus?
I think it's better. They need to tackle better, and they need to have a good game plan. They got to get off to a good start. I mean, A&M, like I said, Petrino is a great play caller, but they don't really do anything fancy on offense. They're not going to give you all the looks Missouri does and all that good stuff. Of course, it may not matter. I would say tackle, play physical, be the more excited team to play, play as a team. You know, the whole, you know, keep the victory as normal. I don't think it's realistic South Carolina has a great day on offense on Saturday, Bill, because the one huge mismatch on the field is their D-line versus Carolina's offensive line, whereas Missouri had to kind of do a lot of stunning and stuff like that, and they kind of ate Spencer alive with all that. A&M's going to be able to get pressure with 3 or 4. So,
JC, we always appreciate it, man. Hope you have a great rest of the week, and as always, we'll catch up with you next Halloween. We'll all get decked out in our Halloween costumes.
All right, brother. Take care, y'all.
You too. JC Shurburtt joining us, thebigspur.com. You can get all the information there. Hour 3 on the way. Perry Orth will be on as well.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Discover Herndon Certified, Herndon Chevrolet's premier used car warranty. Shop with complete confidence knowing Herndon Chevrolet has got you covered.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
Trane heating and cooling systems are tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit TraneInfo.com to find your local independent Trane dealer. TraneInfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
The South Carolina Education Lottery encourages all players to understand the games they play before they pay. Understand the odds of the games they offer, common lottery myths, and the science of problem gambling at SCEducationLottery.com/better. The lottery is a game, so let's keep it fun.
Hey, it's Trey Knox and Boogie Huntley. This fall, if you're not in Williams-Brice cheering on the Gamecocks, you need to be out at Charwood Golf Club, my favorite course to play here in Columbia.
If you think the field at Williams-Brice Stadium is nice, you'll love what Rock and Daniel Lucas have done over at Charwood Golf Club, the Midland's best-kept secret.
Book your tee time today at 803-755-2000 or online at charwood.com.
Take it from us. Golf is better when you're playing at the Wood.
Plus, text entitled with approved credit. Call 888-320-6359 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT's Kia goes where no Kia dealer has gone before. Save thousands off new Kias. Save thousands in interest. 3.75% Telluride, Sorrento's, Carnivals. Get 20% more for your trade. Up to $6,000 more. No payments till next year. And never, ever pay more than sticker. South Carolina's Kia Giant. JT'sKia.com.
Mobile phones, laptops, video games, social media. It's time to unplug, rev up, and get out into the real world on a Honda CRF dirt bike. Honda's family of rugged, reliable CRF trail and dirt bikes are a great way to get out and get connected as a family. From young riders to experienced, they have the Honda dirt bikes in stock and ready to ride. Carolina Honda Powerhouse. Just take exit 70 off I-20 or visit carolinahonda.com. Intended for off-road operation only. Parents need to consider a rider's age, size, ability, and maturity before allowing them to ride.
Snakes, rodents, and mold all live and grow beneath your home and eventually will find their way inside. Canty Foundation Specialist is your local trusted expert in crawl space sealing. Call us today for a free estimate.
Canty can fix it.
Moisture and high humidity in your crawl space create an environment for mold and mildew and affect the air you breathe inside your home. Call Canty for a free inspection today at 753-1495 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
There's no better place to be on a fall Saturday than at Williams-Brice Stadium. Secure your tickets today to catch a game this fall. Visit thegamecockclub.com for more information. Whatever the game, whoever you're with, just catch a game.
107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
I-26 eastbound there at Highway 1, the shoulder currently blocked from an earlier accident. Highway 1 at I-20, an accident as well. Still reporting a little bit of fog. I-20 both east and westbound at Broad River Road. That should be clearing up as the sun comes out. I-77 southbound both at exit 12 and at exit 6. We have an accident or accidents for you to be aware of. And one other note, Highway 378 near I-77. That's right there near the VA. We do have a report of a tie-up. 74 today for the high, overnight low of 47. Then it warms up, 78. And then we're in the low 80s really through Monday. Right now, though, it's still kind of chilly, 44 in the early game.
WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Hey, this is DeCarrion Joyner. You're listening to 107.5 The Game, home of the Gamecock.
A Cumulus media station.
The early game.
With Bill Gunter, former Gamecock Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
The nom de plume.
So nice.
I know he is. Preston is crushing it this morning with.
He's showing what 4 years of education can do, and then you're showing what 7 years of education can do.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
The theme of this show. I don't know what happened.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Hour 3 of a Tuesday morning edition of the early game. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and joined in about 15 minutes by Perry Orth. Preston Thorne off to Sumter today. He'll also be in a little bit tomorrow, and then he'll be back Thursday and Friday. We got a lot going on this week. Reminder today, Shane Beamer weekly press conference right here at 107.5 The Game. You can also join it, listen down in Myrtle Beach, 100.3 The Game. And again, I will be down in Myrtle Beach on Thursday at the Grand Strand Nissan, hanging out down there from 1 to 3 on Thursday. They will have the Heisman Trophy down there. That'd be pretty cool. So you can come by and you can, if you're down in Myrtle Beach or down in that area, you can come by and you can take your picture with the Heisman Trophy. You can also hang out with me at the Grand Strand Nissan 1 to 3 on Thursday this coming week. Be down there hanging out with the 100.3 The Game group down in Myrtle Beach. We got that going on. Don't forget about Carolina Calls coming up Thursday night, 6 p.m. Again, right here on 107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. So we got a lot of stuff going on this week as we get you ready. South Carolina, Texas A&M. We'll turn the page today. When Shane Beamer talks, you put the Missouri game, as ugly as it was, we probably should have put it to bed on Sunday, but we had to analyze it yesterday, talk about it today a little bit more, get Jamie Bradford's thoughts yesterday, J.C. Sherbert's today. We'll get Perry Orth's thoughts coming up in about 15 minutes. It was a bad loss. I say this, the only maybe, what is it? The only positive maybe I'm stretching. Maybe I'm being a complete homer. The only positive there is it seemed like the last 2 years when South Carolina's entered its darkest days under Shane Beamer, the 44-14 loss to Texas A&M back in 2021, and last year the 38-6 loss on the road in Gainesville to Florida when South Carolina's entered its darkest days. And we've had the most questions. South Carolina's responded. They have responded. 2 years ago, 2021, they ended up beating Florida at home. It's a key word there, at home. Last year, obviously, that 6-point effort that the offense actually got shut out of in Gainesville. The only touchdown of that game was the Kai Kroger fake punt for a touchdown. South Carolina responded with a 63 spot against Tennessee. Honestly, you're not banking, to me, and I apologize if I'm being negative, you're not banking on the offense kicking it up a gear. You're not banking on the defense improving. You're kind of banking on culture right now because it's happened the last 2 years. You're kind of hoping that whatever it is, whatever those good vibes that Shane Beamer seems to keep going in that facility when it's been its darkest, when we've had the most questions, that culture has seemed to somehow carry South Carolina through and to keep that program going. And that's a scary thing. And Preston has said, you can't keep relying on that each and every year. You can't keep relying on it. So South Carolina right now, probably at this point, is facing its, again, biggest adversity in the Shane Beamer era, coming off of the 22-point loss to Missouri, staring a potential postseason at home in the face. This is a huge week. And again, it's hard for, I think, any of us, even the most optimistic, even those Gamecock Larrys out there right now, to say, yeah, this defense is going to go out to Texas A&M this coming weekend and magically be fixed and at least go middle of the pack SEC. We'll see, though. No, it's the only thing we can do is wait and watch noon on Saturday on ESPN. Tonight, let's get into this just for a second, because I know a lot of you don't care, but I'll just bring it up. Tonight, NBA gets going. The NBA is back. This is where the postseason, this is where fall becomes magical. You got postseason baseball intertwining with NHL, with NBA. You've got college football on tonight as well. It's just a 2-game slate in the NBA. Los Angeles Lakers and Denver Nuggets, 7:30 tonight, and Phoenix and Golden State at 10 o'clock. But the NBA is back tonight, so you can, if you're an NBA junkie, if you love LeBron, which some of you do, some of you still out there do. If you love LeBron, if you want to watch the defending champion Nuggets, both of those games on TNT tonight, so you get a little NBA action. I mentioned the NHL. I have a feeling many of you care less about the NHL, especially early season NHL. College football tonight, if you want to get into that as well. You've got 2 games tonight. New Mexico State at Louisiana Tech, 7 o'clock. And then at 7:30, I have a game you might actually be kind of interested in. Liberty. Jamie Chadwell will get a big job. I don't know where and I don't know when. Jamie Chadwell. Now, look, Hugh Freeze left behind some really nice pieces for Jamie Chadwell. This isn't all a Jamie Chadwell production just yet, but you don't step into a program and go 7-0 right off the bat, as he has done, and not be a good coach. He has taken what Hugh Freeze left him, and he has continued to roll. And Liberty is right now 7-0 on the season, 5-0 in conference. do they have a chance to maybe jump into the top 25 and maybe work their way all the way up to being the highest ranked non-Power 5 school? Highly unlikely, but they are technically 27th right now. And by that, I mean in the AP poll, you've got the top 25, James Madison, number 25, and then you've got Florida as the first team receiving votes, Liberty as the second team. So you get where I'm going with number 27 there. But right now, the highest ranked non-Power 5 school, and they would receive a big 6-game bid, is Air Force at number 19. Air Force 7-0 in the season. I mentioned James Madison also in there at 7-0 and ranked now number 25. So Liberty would be the third school in that mix, trying to work their way up and become the highest ranked non-Power 5 school that could earn a Big 6 bowl game. And boy, you talk about Jamie Chadwell being able to do that. But if you want to tune into that a little bit tonight, if the NBA doesn't strike your fancy, if Game 7 of the National League Championship Series doesn't strike your fancy, if NHL isn't your cup of tea tonight and you want some college football, you just can't contain yourself, you need more college football, Western Kentucky, not a bad program either. But that's what you'll get tonight. By the way, that baseball game, Arizona traveling to Philadelphia, 8:07 start time is for that 8:07 on TBS. So that's your schedule. That's your sports schedule for tonight. Little Major League Baseball, little college football, and again, I'll be interested. I will tune in a little bit to that college football schedule. Liberty and Western Kentucky tonight. That game again will be 7:30 on ESPNU. It's at Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers 4-3 on the season. One of those losses coming to Ohio State, so no shame there. They did lose. Western Kentucky did lose last week, 20-17 at Jacksonville State. And, of course, we'll talk more about Jacksonville State next week. It was announced yesterday. Game time for the Gamecocks and Jacksonville State will be noon on November the 4th. ESPN game there. Excuse me, not an ESPN game, but I believe an ESPNU game is what South Carolina will get for Jacksonville State, noon at Williams-Brice Stadium. Probably not ideal. Could be a sleepy atmosphere, but noon for South Carolina and Jacksonville State on November 4th. So that's a little breakdown of what you got going on tonight. A lot to get to. A lot of y'all weighing in as well. 803-404-6100. Richard saying, I would love to see Chadwell someplace like Virginia Tech. He'd get a ton of talent out of North Carolina, Virginia Beach area, and the DMV. Neil weighing in, James Madison is not eligible to play in the postseason, so Liberty is actually sitting in second. Now, Neil, I thought that was the case, but I saw yesterday some Twitter argument beef between Ben Moore with Georgia State. He covers Georgia State. We've had Ben Moore on and a James Madison writer, so I was confused on that, but I thought James Madison was serving the last year of their, it's not a suspension, but I guess being ineligible, but thank you for that. That might clear that up, because, again, I saw that back and forth yesterday. Georgia State, by the way, just throwing it out there. If you're not paying attention, if you haven't paid attention to the season, Sean Elliott having a very nice season at Georgia State. Darren Granger has been really good for the Panthers this year as they're rolling along. Georgia State, obviously, I think is a program. I don't know how everybody feels about that. I was going to say is a program we all pull for. Maybe you don't. Georgia State right now 6-1 on the season, 3-1 in conference as well, and they are second in their particular division in the Sun Belt. With a game still to go against James Madison, so they could win their division outright. Sean Elliott, that'd be a pretty cool thing for him. 803-404-6100. Perry Orth due up next. Got a question for him on calling his own number. And also, as a quarterback, when you look around, you see playmakers you thought you were going to have. How do you feel as a quarterback? We'll get into that with Perry Orth when we come back. You're listening to The Early Game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
The Shane Beamer Weekly Presser, sponsored by Pete Alewine Pools and Spas. Tuesday at 1:30 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Bill Gunner for Zerorez Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning. You heard me talk a lot about your carpets and how you need to contact Zerorez with their patented ZR Water technology. But what about your air ducts? If you want to hear something truly scary this Halloween, how about the amount of dust, pet hair, and allergens that are creeping around in your air ducts? Now that is truly scary. That's why I use Zerust air duct cleaning to maintain healthy air quality in my home. Right now, you can take advantage of an incredible deal. You just need to mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $50 off your next air duct cleaning. That's right, $50 off your next air duct cleaning when you mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game. You can also use promo code AIR, AIR50, when scheduling online at ZerustColumbia.com. Again, 803-262-4020. Mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, and get $50 off your next air duct cleaning. Zerust, spell it backwards and forwards. It's the right way to clean.
Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant Dodgeland on Greystone is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. 12 grand off new Rams at Dodgeland on Greystone. JT'sDodge.com.
You expect your home to protect everything you love, but you don't expect the ways water is breaking down your crawl space and damaging your home. Musty smells, sagging floors, mold are just a few signs your crawl space is compromised. But there's one way to get answers to all your concerns: a free home inspection from Mount Valley Foundation Services. We put water back in its place. Get your free inspection at fixmyfoundation.com.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 803-824-4210.
Hi, this is Kyle. This weight loss program sure has been great to me. I've lost 93 pounds in just 4 months, only 20 pounds away from my goal weight. It has surely changed my life.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-824-4210. That's 803-824-4210. Or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
Hi, everybody. This is Woody Wyndham here to talk about Pioneer Tree Service. Guy Gant's not with us anymore, but his girls are. Madison Gant just walked in. How you doing?
Doing great, Woody. How are you?
Good. Madison, I see your trucks everywhere for Pioneer Tree Service. Tell us some of the people you work with.
We've been very busy with residential and commercial customers.
So, Madison, you're doing the State House, Midlands Tech, City of Columbia, University of South Carolina. So you're going to want to call somebody you can trust. And that is the Gant girls at Pioneer Tree Service. And now there's a new little Gant girl, Dawson. We got all the Gant girls in the room.
We do tree removal, stump removal, tree pruning, tree trimming, tree thinning, tree cabling, and we will raise your tree canopy.
And no matter where you live, the Gant girls can get there. So, hey, Gant girls, how do they get in touch with you?
Call us today for a free estimate at 803-794-8253.
Or check us out online at pioneertreesc.com.
Gotta take.
Hit us up on the Firehouse Subs text line.
Firehouse Subs, founded by firemen.
803-404-6100.
On your home of the Gamecocks.
107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
Things certainly have picked up for your Tuesday morning. Highway 1 at I-20, an accident there. Also in Highway 378 near I-77 by the VA, there's an accident. In Lexington, we have a report of a tie-up at Old Cherokee and Old Chapin Road. I-77 southbound at Shop Road, and also I-77 southbound at Forest Drive. So exits 12 and 6 are impacted on 77 southbound. 74 for the high today, 78 tomorrow, and then we roll into the low 80s for several days. Pretty nice. But it's chilly right now. It is 45.
The early game.
With Phil Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Jen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$8:16 on your Tuesday morning commute. Get up, get going. Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen. Preston Thorne will be back tomorrow. Want to remind you, coming up this Saturday, noon, South Carolina, Texas A&M. If you're not going, you can head on over to O'Hara's in Lexington and watch the game. It's our 107.5 The Game watch party, and you can come out, and you can even have a chance to win Clemson tickets. So come on out. 107.5 The Game's South Carolina, Texas A&M viewing party at O'Hara's in Lexington, noon this coming Saturday. Come on out, hang out with Terry and the guys, and have a chance to win a pair of Clemson tickets. 803-404-6100 is how you can weigh in this morning if you want to do so and talk about the game from this past weekend or start to look ahead to Texas A&M. Joining us now, though, as he has done many a time in the past, is the one and only legendary mobile quarterback, Perry Orth, dual threat. And Perry, welcome in. Number one, before I get to my big question for you, how you doing? How is life over at Cardinal Newman treating you?
Man, it's good. Appreciate you having me on. I love how I've now been tagged as like this dual threat guy. I'm just kidding, but all jokes aside, no, it's good, man. Cardinal Newman having a good year over there, and we're 7-2, and hoping to get our 8th win on Friday and get ready for the playoffs the following week. I don't think Cardinal Newman's been, I don't know the last time they've had an 8-win season, so we're trying to do some things that hadn't been done over there, and one day at a time. But no, things are good. They got a great school and great administration and great athletic director, and they got a great school over there, and fortunate to be a part of it.
I feel that you were channeling some inner Steve Spurrier with that kind of monologue there about how well y'all are doing the things, kind of doing some things that have never been done here, and got great facilities. Why can't it be it? Why not us?
Yeah, no, I mean he's right. No, they you got to add it in. You got to throw it in a little bit. And I don't blame them. You work hard and you spend a lot of hours and time with the kids, and if you got some good things going on, you want to share it with people. Maybe there's a young talented player that might be listening that might say, you know what, Cardinal Newman doesn't sound too bad.
Do you find yourself, it's not that this is your first or second year coach, you've done this for a while. Do you find yourself doing some things that you would laugh at, maybe Steve Spurrier, or some of the comments, the quips that he would just make? Do you find yourself doing that, looking back and going, man, that guy's got a little bit more of an impact on me than I really thought?
I wouldn't say just Coach Spurrier. I do see that a lot. But it's really a combination between Coach Spurrier, GA, Mangus, and then Coach Roper.
Okay.
It's really funny. I took a few things from all three of those. And then, Brian Turk as well. Brian Turk taught me the analytics of the game. Coach Spurrier taught me the one-liners, and also even to this day, I still use all of his passing game terminology, signals. Everything is darn near the same as what we ran when he was at South Carolina with me, and it's just I know it like the back of my hand, and I think the kids enjoy playing in it. And so no, it is pretty funny though. People say that all the time. They're like, man, you reminded me of the coach you played for here, and I don't try to do that. I just try to be myself, and maybe I don't know. Maybe it is when you get coached by him, you just kind of adapt and adopt some of his mannerisms.
So one of the things I'm asking, partly serious and partly joking, and actually this is a question Preston wanted to ask. He couldn't be here, but wanted to ask you. did you hear, I guess, or have you learned about what happened at the end of the Clemson game on Saturday night against Miami in the play that Cade Klubnik ran? Have you heard about this? Do I need to break this down to you?
No, I did. I saw the highlights, and obviously it was all over social media. And the funny thing about coaching in South Carolina in high school, like most teams that I've coached on are pretty split even Carolina Clemson fans, and so you get the full breakdown on Sunday and Monday of both teams' performance on Saturday. And yes, needless to say, I heard about that he decided to not hand the ball off on an automatic give and got tackled and lost the game.
So was there ever, this was technically the Preston question, was there ever a moment that you just basically decided, nope, I'm calling my own number? This is going to be the Perry Orth show. I'm not a fan of the play that we got. I'm calling the Perry Orth number.
I did it one time in high school, and that was the last time I did it. I didn't have the manhood to do that to Coach Spurrier. Had too much respect for him and his career and the credentials and the accolades he had accomplished over his 40-year coaching career. So I was like, you know what? Do I think that I may be able to sneak around the edge here? Maybe. Is it worth it? No, it is not.
803-404-6100 if you want to send in a question for Perry. Let's start with this. As a former quarterback, as a quarterback coach, as a guy who's done camps for quarterbacks, what are you seeing from Spencer Rattler this year that you think is an improvement from how he performed last year? Is it just as simple as confidence, or have you picked up on maybe some mechanics, footwork, throwing motion that maybe Dow Loggins has worked with him on to have the season that he is having?
I think the number one thing that has made Spencer Rattler just play out of his mind from a fan's perspective of outside looking in, he just looks comfortable. Even when he's getting pressure, he looks comfortable as people are flying in and around him. His feet aren't all over the place like they were at times last year. He doesn't look confused when he's out there. He looks just so poised. And it looks like he has a grasp on what they're wanting to do. And he has the physical traits to throw the football accurately, to throw it with command, to throw it with velocity, to make it look good. His mechanics are as sound as anybody in college football. But he looks like he's in complete control. Now, he's had some unfortunate breaks. You have two of the best receivers in college football that you get the opportunity to throw to. One of them hardly gets on the field this season, and the other one, gets hurt in the middle of the game last week. And it doesn't matter who's at quarterback. It could be Tom Brady, Joe Montana, any of the big names that we all love. They've got to have protection. They've got to have a run game, and they've got to have weapons around them for them to reach their fullest ability. And, when you lose two guys like that, and we have not protected all that well, it really is a struggle. So I think it's highlighted even more of we're not truly appreciating what he's doing because of all of those circumstances. And he is still playing at a top 7 quarterback in the country level. He's still playing at an All-American level. So for me, it is incredibly impressive.
With that in mind, I kind of coming back, I want to go back to what you said about, and that was the other thing I really wanted to get into with this morning. As a quarterback, as a college age player who's still trying to handle adversity properly and everything, you're out there when you see your playmakers. I think for you, correct me if I'm wrong, for you in 2015, and maybe you saw it ahead of time, Preston has talked about when Sidney Rice was a true freshman, he was just tearing them up in practice. He was tearing up the defense, and Lou Holtz back then was yelling, why can't you stop this guy? And then Sidney got hurt and couldn't play. Deebo Samuel, did you notice it early in 2015? Because I remember I think he got hurt on one of the first passes of the game down the right sideline. And I don't know what you remember about Deebo's preseason and if he was just lighting people up and y'all were like, yeah, this guy's going to be great. But that season you had to deal. You had Pharaoh still out there, but I don't know what you thought of Deebo and his injury and how that affected you as a quarterback as the season went on.
Well, yeah, it certainly did. I mean, Debo came on the scene the day he stepped foot on campus in the season before. We had a ton of depth in 2014 at wide receiver, from Shaq Rowland to Demir Bird, Nick Jones. Bruce Ellington was gone at that point. Pharaoh Cooper was coming on the scene in 14. So we had some depth, and so the goal was to redshirt Debo, but we all knew Debo was a complete difference maker. And so when he got hurt, it put a wrench in kind of the ideas and some of the strategy we had on offense, and even worse, the year before Shaq Rowland left, and we were going into that season expecting it to be Shaq Rowland, Pharaoh, and Debo, and that is one hell of a lineup at receiver. And what that does, it puts, even more so than the quarterback, it puts the coordinator in a really difficult situation where you're having to do things on offense that you don't necessarily want to do, but you're restricted with the guys and the tools that you have in the toolbox. And it doesn't mean you can't coach around and win games. It just makes it really challenging. And the worst is when you have key players or an integral part of your game plan, and then they get hurt in the middle of the game, and you're like, well, where do we go from here? Now, you don't obviously vocalize that, but you think in your head, you're like, well, I mean, I don't really have a crazy game plan without this person in it, and it becomes a struggle.
Perry Orth joining us this morning. We'll come back with him, get a few more thoughts on what he's seen different from the South Carolina offense and maybe what he's liked in particular from Dow Loggins as the Gamecocks work through the first year with Dow Loggins and with Spencer Rattler as well. You're listening to Bill Gunner, Jen Jensen, and Perry Orth joining us this morning. It's the early game.
The game will be at the beach, in the PD, and the Midlands. That almost covers the whole Palmetto State. In Columbia, 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
The last of the major sports leagues tips off this week, and BetOnline is your top spot for all your basketball action this season. With baseball postseason, football, and hockey in full swing, BetOnline is your #1 source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions. BetOnline, where the game starts.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet, where saving is always the name of the game. The lowest price, guaranteed, or they'll pay you $1,000. South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Find new roads.
No one likes to talk about the injuries, pain, disability, and lost loved ones that result from terrible car and tractor-trailer accidents. I'm Jason Reynolds. At the Samuels Reynolds Law Firm, we're honored to be the lawyers our clients rely on during their toughest moments.
And I'm Stephen Samuels. When a work injury disrupts your life, I work hard to get you the medical treatment and workers' compensation you depend on.
Samuels Reynolds. True injuries, true lawyers. 803-779-4000.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? I'm Dr. Mark Bentley with Columbia Secret for Weight Loss, and I know the secret. Our unique weight loss program makes it easy to lose weight, get healthy, and get your energy back naturally, safely, and effectively. If you'd like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories, no exercising, no prepackaged or boxed meals, no surgery, and no hypnosis, call my office now at 803-824-4210.
Columbia's Secret for Weight Loss changed my life. I've lost over 50 pounds, and now I have metabolic flexibility. To me, this program is more than just about fat loss. It's about a lifestyle. Throughout this program, the guidance and accountability help create a pathway to a healthier, better me.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month. That's a half a pound to a pound per day. For your free private weight loss consultation, call 803-824-4210. That's 803-824-4210 or ColumbiaSecretForWeightLoss.com.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Plus text entitled with approved credit call 866-243-4623 for details. Never before and maybe never again. South Carolina's truck giant Dodgeland on Greystone is taking up to $12,000 off new Rams. Quad cab, crew cab, heavy duty. Big trucks, big savings. And where can you get up to 20% more for your trade? South Carolina's truck giant, up to $6,000 more. Don't wait. This has never happened before and maybe will never happen again. 12 grand off new Rams at Dodgeland on Greystone, jtsdodge.com.
Are you tired of getting stuck on the sidelines, feeling like you've been tackled by bad luck? Well, it's time to call in the MVP of towing services, Schroeder's Towing. Whether your ride needs a Hail Mary jumpstart or a fourth quarter tow, Schroeder's Towing has got you covered. We'll make sure you reach the end zone safely every time. Our team of expert drivers is always in peak performance mode, ready to deliver a touchdown of service 24/7. So don't fumble around with other towing companies. Call Schroeder's Towing today.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
107.5 The Game On Demand podcast menu.
Sponsored by Lexington Orthopedics and Sports Medicine.
If you're dealing with injuries or pain, our team is here to get you better sooner.
On the home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game. 107.5 The Game traffic. Sponsored by the South Carolina Department of Corrections.
South Carolina Department of Corrections is hiring statewide with huge pay raises. Correctional officers can now make $50,000 plus in their first year. Officers must be at least 18 years of age. Visit joinscdc.com to apply.
WIS-TV First Alert Traffic on 107.5 The Game.
I-20 westbound at Alpine Road, a report of an accident there. Also still working Augusta Highway at I-20. Old Cherokee Road at Old Chapin Road in Lexington, an accident there, so do be careful. And near the VA hospital, we still have a report of an accident that is being cleaned up at this point. 74 for the high today, another chilly morning tomorrow. And then tomorrow's high 78. And then we get into the low 80s to get us through the weekend and into the first part of the work week. So that's awesome. 47 right now on the early game.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
$8:34 on a Tuesday morning. Bill Gunner joined by Perry Orth this morning, Jen Jensen as well. We get Perry's take offensively on what he has seen so far. Some good comments on how he's seen the progression of Spencer Rattler. Now I ask you, Perry, what have you seen from this offense that is either different from Marcus Satterfield's that you like, or just things that you're seeing Dow Loggins try to do right now, working with the offensive line that is really decimated by injuries? Jen? All right, we'll get back to Perry here in just a second. As 803-404-6100, how you can join us. Perry, I'm sure you can hear me. Jen has your mic potted down and has wandered out of the producer room. So I'll get back to Perry here in just a second. Again, as we talk with Perry we tried to talk with Perry this morning regarding what he sees from the South Carolina offense and what's going on as it pertains to Spencer Rattler and how he plays. So a lot to take in there with what South Carolina is trying to do. Obviously, a lot of the problems are defensively, and a lot of the problems are with the offensive line as well. And a lot of those come with injuries, and how South Carolina is trying to figure out the right alignment for, like, moving out Rashawn Lee. Moving out Rashawn Lee to right tackle seemed to work really well. Nick Gargiulio I thought, played better against Florida at center. But then, as Preston talked about with the grades, Nick Nick Gargiulo really struggled at the center against the Missouri defensive line. Give credit to Missouri for the game plan and how they chose to attack South Carolina. But now we'll learn more at 1:30 today from Shane Beamer on the health of the offensive line and how they can move forward. Casey Henry's a guy that Shane Beamer has indicated they could get back maybe sooner than later. Jalen Nichols probably out for the season, and you're going to have to deal with that. Marky Anderson was a freshman that they kind of expected. Travon Ball did suffer a little bit of an injury, and he's played a good bit. And I think having those young offensive linemen out there and ready to help is certainly, or develop is what I should say, is certainly a big part of what they want to do for the long-term future. Cam Pringle, obviously coming in. Josiah Thompson, the big-name offensive lineman. Blake Franks is probably going to need a red shirt season. I like Lonnie Teasley, and I like what Lonnie Teasley wants to do with the offensive line in the long term. I know a lot of people are talking coaching changes and what they want, what they think should happen. But what I think you stick with Lonnie Teasley. I know we had Patrick DeMarco in here about a week and a half ago, and Patrick DeMarco saying he really thought highly of Lonnie Teasley, the knowledge he has of the game, also how he coaches them. And this being his first year, truly having the offensive line under his coaching and not splitting it with Greg Atkins, I think has been very big for him. And so I also think with Lonnie Teasley, you've seen development. It's not been as fast, I know, as a lot of people would want, but what you have is, Jen, can we get Perry potted up? Perry, you with us now? No, Perry hung up. Okay. Welcome to the early game, where chaos is our specialty. We will get Perry back here in just a second and get final thoughts with him. But with that in mind, yeah, what you're trying to do is improve that offensive line. I know earlier this year I mentioned with Cam Pringle and Josiah Thompson, I didn't think it would be a good thing if they were in the 2 deep next year, because you'd want offensive linemen typically to redshirt as freshmen and spend time in your strength and conditioning program. And those are guys that will be doing. All right, let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Perry is there, and Perry, apologize for that. Going back to what I was saying, offensive philosophy with Dow Loggins and compared to what you saw with Marcus Satterfield. Your thoughts on how you've seen this offense try and operate with the deficiencies on the offensive line?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually looked pretty strong. I love the vertical passing game. I think Spencer really has come into that and has done really well with that. Obviously, when Legette's in there, he's done amazing catching the ball down the field. I loved our plan against Mississippi State, where we were heavy in the run and mixed in, the pass when we could, and we were very efficient. And I mean, golly, even the Florida game, just the creativity that Dow brings, he really does bring that NFL mindset to our offense with incredible balance. I think last week, unfortunately, we were a little outmatched on the offensive line for what Missouri does and the players they have. I mean, they're one of the best in the conference. And so, we were a little outmatched, but I'm super impressed. I can tell you right now, there are 3 or 4 plays that South Carolina has run this year that we've actually tried to replicate at Cardinal Newman, simply because of the creativity, because it'll show one thing and next thing you know, they're doing something completely different. And it's very creative. I think it's helped us make up for our deficiencies on offense. And, I expect us wholeheartedly to continue to improve the rest of this season. And I think Spencer Rattler is going to continue on the tear. We just have got to find a way to protect him and slow down the rush of the opposing team.
It's probably going to be unfortunate that they're not going to be able to do that. I mean, who knows what the next 5 games looks like, but with Vershawn Lee still expected out, Casey Henry not expected back probably this week, maybe in November. I say that because from what you've seen from this offense, how easy do you think it would be for a Lenore Sellers to pick it up as a redshirt freshman? If you're just watching, you the casual, if as Perry Orth, the former quarterback, now the coach, just observing from the stands or from television, how difficult do you think it will be for Lenore Sellers to be able to run what Dow Loggins wants to do next year?
It really depends on the terminology and how much they put on him. It's not so much of the plays and the concepts that get confusing. It's the how much are we going to put on him. Now, granted, he will have a full year. I mean, he's been there since January. He's now been on campus almost a year, and by the time he steps foot on the field, as the starter, he will have been here for 16, 17 months. And so at that point, he will have been here long enough to understand what the mission is on offense, understand the plays, signals, direction, etc. I would tell you that you would expect and you will see much more quarterback run when Lenoris is in, simply because he gives you that option, and especially while he's young. So I don't think it'll be overly challenging for Lenoris to come in. Now, as a true freshman, that's a bit different, just because it's still your first year. But like I said, by the time he gets onto the field, he will have been here for plenty of time to grasp what Coach Loggins is trying to do.
Just about a minute and a half, 2 minutes left with you here real quick. Next 5 games, how much more can the offense do to try and win? You feel like they're going to have to win in shootouts. Perry, you talked a little bit about it. As a quarterback, when you go out there, if you don't have your main weapons, who you were looking at, Xavier Legette, Juice Wells, how does a quarterback like Spencer Rattler feel? Do you feel more pressure on yourself to perform? Do you just have to suck it out? What does Spencer Rattler do here these next 5 if Xavier Legette cannot go?
You certainly feel it. You certainly feel the need to perform and put it on your shoulders, but that's simply, you can't do that, because then you'll end up turning the ball over and not playing like yourself. You need to play within the offense, and the big thing is that we need to get the ball out of his hand quick. We've got to throw a quick game, and somebody at the receiver position has to emerge as a go-to guy if Legette is going to be out. Doesn't matter who it is. Somebody has to emerge. And then we may have to buy in to the run game and do some play action off of it, get downhill, get the offensive line moving downhill, and then try to throw different play actions out of it. But, in regards to the quarterback never plays well when they try to do too much. It does not matter who you are. If you do not play within the play that is called, now it's different, a scramble drill, you get outside the pocket, and now you just be an athlete. But, before the play is broken down and you try to do something different or something that, you're just going to go rogue as the quarterback at Clemson did, it never works out. It shouldn't say never. It very rarely works out for you. So play within the play. Let's get the ball out of his hand, get downhill in the run game, and keep scoring points. They have had no issues scoring points outside of one game. And, I fully expect them to continue to do that.
Perry, man, I appreciate it. We definitely look forward to getting you back here in the next few weeks. Definitely look forward to having you in studio, and we'll catch up then.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you.
Take care. Perry Orth joining us. Some great commentary there on what he's seen from the offense. We'll wrap up the program next. It's the early game.
Here's what's coming up on the game.
Carolina Calls with Shane Beamer, live from Backstreet Grill in Columbia, Thursday at 6 p.m.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
This is Boomer Science with CBS Sports Minute, sponsored by Staybell. Remember, when you store, start with Staybell. Visit sta-bil.com for more information. Today's birthday shout-out goes to Jaylen Brown. According to Historic Trends, the next 3 seasons are the sweet spot for Brown and Jason Tatum to win an NBA title. Oh boy, from this Knicks fan. I'm Boomer Science. CBS Sports Radio.
If that sound gives you nightmares, there's a cheap and easy way to avoid engines not firing. Stable, America's #1 fuel stabilizer, ensures quick and easy starts after storage. Stable's proprietary formula keeps fuel fresh for 2 years, outperforming competitors. Pour Stable in your gas can or directly into the tank of your car, truck, hybrid, boat, ATV, motorcycle, or lawnmower to prevent fuel-related engine problems that cost time and money. When you store, start with Stable.
Wendy's new breakfast 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you create your own delicious combo. Choose from a sausage biscuit, egg and cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, and a medium hot coffee. But it's obvious which combo's the best. Sausage biscuit and small seasoned potatoes. Well, maybe it's the fresh cracked egg and cheese biscuit with a medium hot coffee. Or 2 savory sausage biscuits. Whichever you pick, you can't go wrong. Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's new 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles.
Limited time only. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo. Single item at regular.
Clogged, overflowing gutters can cause thousands of dollars in damage to your home's foundation. Canty Foundation can replace your gutters and save you money.
Canty installs gutter shutter.
Call us today for your free inspection.
Canty can fix it.
Having a reliable gutter system is essential to protecting your home's interior and exterior. Heavy rain can unleash gallons of water onto your home, and poorly maintained or leaky gutters could lead to roofing, siding, and water damage that is expensive to repair or replace. Online at candygutters.com.
The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
If you like using debit over credit, don't you think it's time you also got rewarded? Well, now you can with Discover Cashback Debit. It's a checking account that rewards everyone with cashback on everyday purchases. Plus, you're not charged any account fees, period. Whether you're moving, starting a new job, or headed into that next stage of your life, whatever it is, Discover Cashback Debit is for everyone. Check out eligibility and terms at discover.com/cashback debit. Discover Bank, member FDIC. Buy a seat for the Breeders' Cup World Championships, and chances are you won't use all of it, just the edge, because that's where the experience will have you, on the edge of your seat to witness the brightest stars from around the world, on the edge of your seat for the long shots, the upsets, and an experience that's truly a breed apart. November 3rd and 4th at Santa Anita Park. They'll come from around the globe to keep you on the edge of your seat. You can get your tickets today at breederscup.com.
The early game
with Bill Gunter, Preston Thorne, and Shen Jensen.
Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Reminder, you can come and hang with 107.5 The Game this coming Saturday noon. O'Hara's in Lexington. Come out and watch the game at our viewing party, and you can win Clemson tickets. So come on out noon, South Carolina, Texas A&M. If you're not heading to College Station, I went once. It was a fantastic experience. Enjoyed College Station a great deal. It's a neat little town. Flew into Houston, drove up to Bryan, and hung around. They've got a good little restaurant bar scene, if you will. It's a passionate, exceptionally nice fan base. No, of course, that was the 2019 season when South Carolina was struggling mightily. And
so now what? How different?
That's what I'm saying. It might not be a whole lot different, but they were. It really is probably. I joke that I'd much rather see Tennessee, Florida, Georgia on South Carolina's schedule next year. But I will say a trip to Texas A&M, probably a lot of fun. I have not looked. You can probably throw in let me look real quick and see if you can make it a truly sports weekend here, because I've not bothered looking at the NFL schedule, particularly Dallas or Houston for this coming weekend. But if they've got a home game, you might even be able to mix that in. Dallas is at home, early game. Against Los Angeles. So with South Carolina playing a noon game, you can make the trip over to Dallas and catch the Rams and the Cowboys. If you wanted to go, if you were going, I guess it might be a little late unless some of you are just know how to find great deals. Houston is on the road. Oh, here against the 0-6 Panthers. Oof. All right, get fired up for that one.
Oh man, that's not sporty sport.
No, but yeah, you could turn that into a solid little weekend as well. I don't know the outward looking baseball playoff schedule with the Rangers, and quite frankly, I'm not even going to try and pretend I know how far Arlington is from Bryan, Texas, College Station, where they're at. But that also could be an option. So you could make, if you're heading out to College Station, if you're heading out to Bryan, Texas, you can have maybe a nice little sports weekend. Go catch the Cowboys if you're a fan. Head over to Jerry World, or you maybe again. I don't have the future World Series schedule right in front of me, but obviously tonight we will get a matchup of Christian Walker and the Arizona Diamondbacks at Philadelphia. Game 7 of the NLCS. Winner goes on to face the Texas Rangers. So again, if you're heading out there, I enjoyed it. College Station's a fun road trip. Again, really nice people, some great food. Depending on how you feel about barbecue, Houston has some great barbecue places. And again, that's where we flew into last time back in 2019. Game was awful. But unfortunately, I think if you've been around Gamecock football a lot, you've probably made a couple road trips where the game didn't turn out quite like you had hoped for, but you still had a good trip. And that'll probably be the case. If you don't go, again, come on out to O'Hara's in Lexington this coming Saturday for our viewing party. You can hang out with some of us, and you can have a chance to win some Clemson tickets. So nothing wrong with coming and hanging around, having a good little Saturday afternoon if you're here in town. 803-404-6100 if you've got some final thoughts this morning. Coming up tomorrow, we are expected to be joined in studio by former Gamecock offensive lineman John Strickland and get his take on what he's seeing with the offensive line. Again, I would be very interested to see a healthy offensive line that you kind of projected. Now, I guess part of the projection would be after the spring game. You knew it was not going to be Jalen Nichols out there. You thought it would be Kason Henry. But to see what that offensive line might look like, and so many injuries now, it's not an excuse, but it is part of the issue and something that South Carolina is going to have to fight to overcome. You can't fix it now. You can't solve that in practice this week. But we'll talk with John Strickland tomorrow a little bit in studio here from 8 to 9 o'clock. One story I didn't get to today real quick. Keep an eye on this Michigan story. The investigation, given how the NCAA normally, the pace of investigations for the NCAA, this one's going to take a little while to get through and to determine everything, but it's starting to look more and more like Michigan did some serious undercover operations here to do some sign stealing. It was shown yesterday that Connor Stallions, the suspended Michigan staffer, who really is at the center of this deal, purchased tickets in his own name for more than 30 games over the past 3 years at 11 different Big Ten schools. 30 games over the last 11 years. There is actually a tweet that Brad Crawford has put out. Take from it what you want. It's a retweet, but there is a picture of the Michigan staff in the Ohio State game, and it's a picture kind of down the sideline, and you can actually see the play cards or the cards that are being used. I would call them the play cards typically, but one of them appears to be pictures of people holding up hand signs as if to read those.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Keep an eye on this story because my gut is Jim Harbaugh jumps to the NFL next year. I don't think he sticks around for this. That tweet came out about 16 minutes ago. It says, from Buckeye Huddle, Tom Orr, Michigan appeared to have a hand signal decoder sheet on the sideline during last season's victory. We'll do another show tomorrow. We'll talk about what Shane Beamer said. Y'all have a great rest of the day. Been a good show. Very entertaining. And now need to tell you about somebody else who does a phenomenal job and is always entertaining, especially if you're going to purchase a new car. That is Love Chevrolet, I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park. And I tell you what, if you are looking for entertainment, Love Chevrolet has got you provided. I tell you what, there's nothing more fun than going and picking out a brand new car. It doesn't need to be a hassle. It doesn't need to be stressful. Love Chevrolet understands that. They have an incredible sales staff. that's ready to help you the second you drive on the lot. They take the stress away by being knowledgeable, by being friendly, answering all your questions. They take the stress away by giving you the absolute best deals possible, not selling above MSRP. And they take the stress away by making sure you have the largest selection of vehicles to choose from. So again, it's an exciting experience when you go to Love Chevrolet. Go out and find out for yourself. I-26 in Harbison between Lowe's and Frankie's Fun Park, or you can visit them on the web, lovechevy.com. Get out to Love Chevrolet and find new roads.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 107.5 The Game.
A great selection of new Chevys is available now at Herndon Chevrolet. The lot is packed with inventory and more is on the way. So shop your hometown Chevy dealer today.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
For the second year in a row, U.S. News and World Report has named Lexington.
Y'all have a good rest of the day. Take care. We will talk to you in the morning. Good seeing all of y'all. Good discussion today, by the way. Good discussion over here. You guys, good little community y'all got. Y'all might have to have a tailgate one day or something. Take care.